Welcome to Chamonix, nestled under the shadow of Mont Blanc, the 4,810-meter mountain you can see in the background. Our purpose-built lead and speed walls are in the Place du Mont Blanc, where thousands of people come in the evenings to watch the finals. My name is Matt Groom, and I'm joined by Emil Abrahamsen in the commentary box. Emil, first of all, I'm so sorry you didn't make it through to the semis today. It was a hard round yesterday.
Yeah, for me anyways. I struggled quite a bit yesterday. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Mate, it's a pleasure to have you here. And look, we're looking at our lead wall, women's route on the left, men's on the right. We got a chance to check out the routes earlier on. What's your initial impressions of them?
They look fairly straightforward, both of them. Very powerful, burly, and kind of like thuggy. It's kind of hard to tell if there's any distinct cruxes or any parts that are going to be, you know, extra challenging for the athletes. I saw a couple of moves around some corners and stuff that could, you know, put them off. But generally, it looks like if they bring their power, they're going to be fine.
Well, we'll see if they are bringing their power. And there is our starting list. And a man you know very well, Hannes Pullman, getting through. Yes. Allowed to be very, very biased when he comes on. So you can see our starting list. Jeremy Bonder will be out first because he qualified in last position. And then down the bottom, Stefan Schertz. Bit of a surprise for him coming through in first position. He said he's been building and peaking towards this moment, but certainly it's a fantastic position for him to be in. And then right down the bottom, Yannick Floe coming out.
Yeah, I think we had, what was it, 10 athletes who did both routes yesterday?
Yeah, it was a high topping round.
Yeah. Do you know if that's a record?
It might be. It might be. I think it was 11 men did both the routes.
11, okay.
Yeah, and then the top, I want to say top 5 women did both of them as well.
Okay.
And I think for the women, we almost expect it a little bit at the moment. And we are looking at the women's list here. Some big names down there. Jielu Liu, who was such, well, an inspiration during the bouldering. She's just 16 from China, fairly unknown. She qualifies once again. Molly Thompson-Smith from Team GB. She's in the top 26. Team France, well, they are well covered. Manon Healy, Hélène Giancourt, Camille Pouget, they all got through as well. The French crowd was enjoying that yesterday. And then down the bottom, Natalia Grossman qualifying in first position. Cheonso and Janja Garnbret, those 3 names. And Brooke Rabatu, Alexander Totkova. I mean, look, we're looking at those top 5. Janja probably the favorite at the moment, but any one of those could take it this evening.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Janja's had a very interesting style when she's climbed in the past 2 World Cups this year. Like, she takes it incredibly slow and steady, and then when she realizes she's kind of won, she just speeds up the wall, and it's been actually fantastic to see. I'm kind of like waiting for the switch to come. Like when I'm watching her, I'm just thinking like, okay, in a moment it's gonna happen, and there she goes.
Yeah, it's true.
Off.
I interviewed her about it yesterday, and she's in Innsbruck especially. I was like, why did you climb so slowly? Yeah. And she said, you know, as we expected, that she knew people were falling low, and she just wanted to make sure. But do you remember when she got through that crux, and then her whole body sort of relaxed?
Yeah, it was so fantastic. Like and she just looked happy and just enjoying herself. But before that, she was very serious. I mean, it's kind of cool because you can really tell that she's there to win. I mean, of course, everyone's there to win, but she's won so much already that you could think that maybe she's like, I don't, you know, I'm just here to climb and have fun. But she really does bring like her A game every single time at every single competition, and I find that very admirable.
I agree with you, and people are saying, you know, is it interesting for the sport? I actually think it is interesting, because when you get someone who is doing what she is doing, you're kind of watching history every single competition.
And to be fair, like well, I won't say that she necessarily has pushed the limit, but ever since she started being so dominant, so many other people have come to follow and kind of like last year, for instance, with Natalia in Salt Lake, she actually pushed her off the top.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's Janja. I mean, if you push her off the top, then that's also history.
She'll come back more angry, I tell you that much.
Yeah.
Well, she's not unbeatable, of course, and she has to get through this semi-final route, so it's going to be tricky. And we're looking at the men's power endurance all the way for this, and those big holds are not, they're not good just because they're big, are they?
Some of them looked so slopey. I mean, this wall is... It's kind of strange. When I first looked at it, I was like, well, it's very low. It doesn't look so far. But the more I've been here, the further it looks. So now it looks massive and so intimidating, actually. And the holds on the men's route are incredibly slopey. So I think there's going to be a lot of, like, you know, when people fall out of nowhere. I think we're going to see some people just pop up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is in the shade. But our first athletes are out. Ge Young Oh from Korea comes out, and Jeremy Bonder from France, he's on the right-hand side. So our French audience here in Chamonix, well, they're excited to see him climb. So the women's fairly straightforward down low, and then a tricky traverse section near the lip of the head wall. And for Jeremy, as we can see him starting off, very thuggy physical climbing straight off the bat.
I think this route should suit him quite well. He's a very, very well-rounded and talented climber. I don't know how well he does on general, like, you know, big jumps and strange moves, but I believe his endurance is fantastic, and just like his focus game. We can expect to see some impressive feats from today.
Oh, he's going to need it. Anyway, so Geong-oh is working her way up through the initial part of the route, quite slow from her, making sure she doesn't fall early. And the athletes did get to observe the route just before this broadcast, so they have seen it. She's got a high heel. Those high heels, we're seeing so many women do that kind of move at resting position.
Well, I mean, it really is like a free rest whenever you can get them in, because they can put out so much of the tension from your body by just like applying as much pressure on the heel as possible. The only downside to them is that if a heel hook pops off, you're completely screwed. Like, you just explode off the wall. But if you have a foot pop, you can usually kind of recover. It takes a little bit more energy, but you can still stay on the wall.
Well, no foot pops from her so far. Gets that left toe on the yellow screw-on, and then getting sort of a big drop knee in.
That's it. Deep drop knee.
Deep drop knee, thigh in action there in order to find a rest, and she's starting to struggle on this bottom section.
Yeah.
Only a couple of draws in.
No, I think she might be a little bit more comfortable. Like, those holds are surprisingly devious because they are very good, but the route setters have really been quite mischievous with them and put them in angles that are incredibly hard to work with. I think the wall is 40 degrees also, roughly, which is quite steep. So even with slightly better holds, if you put them in an awkward position, they can feel like the worst holds in the world.
I like a description of a mischievous route setter. Devious is the word I tend to use there. It is a bit of a cat and mouse game between the route setters and the athletes, because obviously you guys know a lot of these holds, whereas they're trying to work out how to make the holds less well known for you, so turn them in different awkward positions.
Exactly.
So Jeremy Bonder is about halfway through his route. This route characterized by those big turquoise volumes on the wall, triangles. And Jeremy is starting to climb quickly. I think he might be starting to run out of steam here.
Yeah, the pump is definitely hitting him.
Snatching at quick draws. But now he's got a decent rest with the right toe and a high heel. And Geong-oh is also through. She looked very nervous down low. Almost looked like she was about to fall, but now she hasn't clipped that draw.
Yeah, I don't know how she's going to make that work. There is a potential drop now. She goes for the next one.
Oh, and a big fall from her.
Yeah.
Yeah, bang the wall.
And that is why they force you to clip all the draws. It's kind of, I mean, a lot of climbers would probably just want to keep on going if they could, because they know they probably won't fall to the ground when they're near their top. But it does become a little bit dangerous, and so the rule to clip all the draws, it's quite good to have.
Yeah, no free solos, please. Yeah. But Jeremy is making brilliant progress. I thought it was falling off down low.
He did make it into the head wall, though, right?
He did, yeah, just through it.
So it's interesting to see. A lot of the athletes were kind of bummed that the routes weren't hard enough yesterday, since they saw so many tops. I mean, when we saw Adamandra doing his comeback on route number 1, which was the second route he climbed, but I mean, he literally walked up it. It was, yeah, it was insane to see.
Yeah, it really was. He's been missing. This is the first time he's actually competed in Chamonix since 2019. So I think he's enjoying being back.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. He told me that this is kind of his vengeance venue. He hasn't had many good competitions here, in at least, well, for a man of his caliber, if you will.
Yeah.
So he was really excited to try and just, you know, obliterate this competition and do his absolute best. So I think we're going to see a quite good run from him. He did not look weak yesterday.
No, he did not. That's good knowledge, Emil. That's cool to know. So Adam's on a rampage. Look forward to that. And that was the big fall we saw into the wall, nasty one.
Wow.
She didn't really react after it, so I think she's okay. And then Jeremy just through the head wall and onto the head wall, turn the lip.
Yeah, that section looks so physical. I mean, the hold you go to there, it's so bad. It's just so incredibly bad. And like, you know, going for that when you're pumped, I don't I don't see how that's going to work. But hopefully we'll see Hannes do it, because he's out now.
Absolutely. So your teammate is in action on the right, and then Quinn Mason on the left, who joins her 2 USA teammates in the semi-final. So good to have her climbing. She's been quite a regular in the commentary box with me. So it's nice to see her actually in action rather than talking about it.
Yeah, she looked good on the wall yesterday, for sure. Yeah,
she did. She's been training really hard. I watched her in Innsbruck, that amazing gym that we get to use, and yeah, she's looking strong. And easily through that bottom section. And there he is, Hannes Boomen gets going.
The man with the beautiful hair, as you once described him.
I did indeed. I'm glad you reminded me of that. In Moscow, he had some very flowing hair. I was jealous.
Yeah. When he did that double knee bar, that actually got a little bit famous. It was a very impressive technique that he used to rest in the middle of the wall.
So how does Hannes cope with these situations? Because we've seen him in semis in Innsbruck, where he made a bit of a mistake in route reading.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with that man, actually. Like, his physical capacities are beyond me. Like, he is so incredibly strong that he can kind of just rely on that all the time. And then when he kicks in the gear to climb well as well, like when he actually moves the best he can, he's unstoppable. But hitting that is so hard in competitions. I think everyone finds, like, finding perfect flow is one of the bigger aspects for these, especially for this level, when they're all, like, I think almost every athlete who made it to the semis topped a route. So, like, they're clearly incredibly good climbers, all of them, and all could make it to the finals. And it can be hard to, like, actually kickstart that flow into the route. And if you make just 4 mistakes in one route, that can put you out of finals, even if you're having a strong day.
Yeah, we've seen so often athletes cutting loose in sections they probably shouldn't, and that has an effect later on.
Yeah, massive effect, massive effect. And even just like resting on the wrong hole or clipping too high or doing literally anything on a route can mess you up.
So we are sticking with Hannes Boomen here as he works his way through the slopey section. That left hand is a very nasty hold. It's one I spotted when I was looking at the route.
Yeah. We just lost Quinn Mason.
Yeah, we'll see a replay of Quinn in a sec, but right now Hannes is... Now, this is an awkward move because the coping on the metal is slippery. You want to avoid that.
Very daring to go double clutch there. I was impressed.
And this is the section we saw Jeremy climbing quickly through as well.
Yeah. But he is looking fresh. I mean, he's resting on a lot of the holds. So hopefully still has a lot more to go.
Yeah, I think this is the set of holds where the males can just sort of recompose a little bit. But we saw Jeremy fall on the blue hold just past the head wall, so that could be one of the cruxes. Always difficult to tell at this stage. And remember, the athletes coming out first, they qualified in last place, so sometimes we see an improvement throughout the field. Although recently, we've watched some people climbing very early on who have done well.
Yeah. I think it's super hard to tell with this competition since there were so many tops. For instance, Hannes, he made a slip in the second route yesterday. And because of that, like, even though he topped the first one, he still placed last into the semifinals. But he seems to be starting to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, he's having to fight. This is the move. But he's jumping into the lead with that one.
Go. Come on.
Screaming his way up.
I'm so psyched right now. I'm so psyched.
And he's onto the crimp, so he's screaming.
Yeah, he has the best roar there is also when he gets tired.
And he's ignoring that quick draw, so I think he might just be going for his final burn. Emil's got sweaty hands next to me. And this is so still going.
He still has to clip though. Oh, he's got it.
I think he thought he was going to fall.
I'm so psyched. Come on, Hannes. Come in.
So Hannes needs to compose now. There's a high foot on the crimps, crosses through.
Ooh, this next section is...
Down he comes.
But so good.
That was a good performance.
Yes, Hannes.
So we could see separation for the men in the last couple of moves.
It seems like it for sure. I mean, yeah, it's always hard to tell. Like, you don't know how hard it's going to be for the rest of them because you can't really tell. I mean, as I mentioned, Hannes did place last into the semis, but he had an incredible performance on the first route. And if the route was 10 meters longer, I think he could have climbed a lot longer and suddenly have placed first or much higher anyways.
Well, this is Mason Quinn. We lost her pretty early on the pockets, which are not as good as they look.
Those are also mischievous or devious, those pockets.
So she failed on the left cross route. A good job from Mason Quinn. Might not be enough for finals, I don't think, but fantastic fight from her. And then Hannes right at the top of the wall. This high left foot. To me, it almost seemed like he'd committed to trying to get the plus, not the quick draw, then made the move and had to reconsider clipping the quick draw.
Yeah, yeah. I was a bit worried that he wouldn't reach it at the top there, just because it was so low. But I think the hold he got with his right hand was actually quite good, it seemed. So he had a little bit more margin to do a low clip.
That is our arena. What a backdrop. The MIDI cable car goes all the way to 3,800 meters up there on the right of your screen.
Yeah, I have to say this venue is mind-bogglingly beautiful.
It is very stunning, isn't it? Well, Sebastian Halenke is out. Always good to see him climbing. And then on the left, Luka Rakovitz from Slovenia. Oh, no, it's not Luka Rakovitz. I'm sorry. It's Miyu Kakizaki from Japan. Got ahead of myself there. Hannes is in front of the commentary box with us right now, looking quite surprised on his face. And there's Sebastian Halenke getting going on the men's physical route. And there is Miyu Kakizaki on the left.
Hands are still sweating from Hannes' run. I'm so excited. It adds a little bit of extra spice when it's your teammates.
Absolutely. So Miyu has this style where she just keeps on going. High feet, big jugs early on. Perhaps one of those beginnings where not that hard for the women, and maybe that catches them out because they're expecting something quite difficult, and it's actually fairly straightforward.
Yeah, it's quite hard to figure out good pacing on these type of routes because they can change so much. Like you can have something that feels kind of like a walk in the park for 10 moves, and if you maintain that mentality for the first move that starts to get hard, you just get punted off right away. So you have to really get ready to kickstart it at any moment. And I don't know, I find that a very hard element to lead climbing anyways.
Is route reading purely an experience thing? I mean, how do you get better at it?
I think with these on-site formats, it's a little bit luck of the draw, I think. Like, you have to maintain enough strength to be able to change on the fly, like the method you're using. And sometimes it can just be hard to tell where the holds are and like how good they are, because you may know most of these holds, but especially when they add like screw-ons. I think they have one for Sebastian's left hand right now. A small screw-on jib. Okay, I was wrong. But one of these holds has a screw-on jib that can make a pretty massive difference if you get the thumb on it correctly, or if you get it like pivoted a little bit, or anything can make a massive difference. And it's hard to tell from the ground sometimes. Yeah,
we see the athletes with binoculars sometimes trying to work out what's going on. And occasionally there is just a blind hold. I mean, a few times the route setters said to me, look, they won't be able to see it. It's instinct almost that has to kick in. So Miyu Kakizaki is trying to find a high toe position and thought better of it. Drops back down to make the clip. Sebastian in the best rest of the men's route. The double heels in.
Yeah, he seems to be chilling.
He's looking very relaxed up there. Real chance to shake for him before the next part, and there's no real break after that, so he needs to milk it. And Miyu it's deceptive from that angle. It looks vertical, but it's really overhanging this wall.
It's very, very far from vertical.
And she starts to traverse left, and this is where the feet run out a little bit. And you can see trying to get that right foot out, then she drops almost horizontally. Up to the side pulls, flips the feet around, and then in a minute she'll have to swing those feet to the left.
Yeah, it almost looks like a little bit of a campy section coming up right now. It's kind of off screen, but there's really no feet to work with that aren't too high. So you're basically only using your upper body to stay on the wall.
Sebastian, our camera on the wall, capturing his pump as he goes higher. Really fighting, trying to find a good foot there. Grimacing his way through on those crimps. And now he's nearing the real business end of this route, this final sequence where we're seeing separation.
Yeah. You have to be so decisive here also. Like, if he takes 2 seconds extra to just recompose himself and think if it's the right beta, it can kind of mess him up. And there we lose him.
Yeah, that sloper. He got it well, but he was always falling. Yeah. And we did lose Miyu Kakizaki as well, but we'll show you a replay of that in a second. Sebastian looking disappointed. If you watched the speed last night, Reza, Ali Poshin and Zandifar losing it after he fell is worth a rewatch.
But he had such a good spirit right after that. I was impressed to see him recompose himself just a second after. Because he looked like he was about to destroy the place.
Yes, I was terrified. He was very close to it.
Me too.
Well, this is Miyu where she fell. So she had, this is the swing to the left. There is a jib on the left volume she'd need to get, but yeah, missed going to the juggy hold. That was the end of Miyu Kakizaki, but I think she's in first position after that performance. We have 26 athletes and they're vying for just 8 finals places. So it's a savage cut. Only the best make it through, and Sebastian, it might not be enough considering I think the men's route is perhaps a little easy.
Could be. Could be. We'll see how the athletes feel about that today.
Yeah. I mean, we talk a lot about conditions. With the men's route being powerful and slopey, there is a cleaning break, of course, but it's going to get worse, those holds, as we near the cleaning break.
True, and it will get a little bit warmer, so it could actually get progressively harder for the people who place first.
Predicting conditions is always dangerous.
Yeah, but
logically it makes sense.
Logically it does make sense. I think generally on lead routes, I mean, of course conditions will make a pretty big difference, but if you start to think about that too much, I think you're just putting yourself in a bad spot. It's better to just, I mean, you're there, you have the conditions that you have the preparations that you have. It's just do what you can with what you're given.
So next 2 athletes out, we have Colin Duffy and Luka Rakovitz. And Colin, you don't usually see him this far down the order in a semi-final. I mean, he obviously qualified, so he did well, but he didn't have the best of runs for his standard.
No, for sure not. I think he was second out on route number 1, back when people thought that it would be quite challenging. And how many tops did that get in the end? Like
lots, yeah.
18, 20 probably?
Yeah, something like that.
I think, I mean, you can't tell how he feels because he's him, but I think I would feel like it'd be hard to know like how far you have to push it, really. Like if you know that everyone else has topped it, and especially for someone like Colin who's so freakishly good, you would kind of expect yourself to be able to top it, and then you'll put in like a little bit of an extra gear potentially to just get it done. I mean, especially with him, he's such a fighter. Like when he climbs, it's just 110% every time. But I don't know, I could imagine that his performance wasn't that bad. I think he fell on the last move on route number 1, but in the end he wasn't so happy with it just because, you know, so many other people did it and he knows that he should be able to as well.
Yeah, I think it caught some of the top men out a little bit. I think they're expecting it to be harder than it was and almost sort of overthought it on occasions.
Because you could kind of see people who came in later looking so much more comfortable on the route. And, I mean, maybe they were just stronger, but I seriously think it's more just a confidence thing that you know, like, okay, this route is going to be possible for me because I know I'm that strong. Like, if they feel that way, you know?
Yeah, no,
it can make a pretty big difference.
It was very interesting. And Colin is, he started off, well, he snatched at a couple of holds there. Now check out Luka Rakovitz as well. Big drop knee, and the way she rests is a bit of an inspiration, especially to me or any climbers who are rubbish at resting, because she finds positions that other people don't seem to, and it's part of her flexibility and her route reading, but she's really good at it.
She also has her small edge strength is remarkable, and when you combine that with these heel, like this resting position right here is what I'm talking about. Like it's a 40-something degree wall, and she's resting on something that has to be below 10 millimeters. Like the edge she's holding on to is incredibly small, and she makes it look like it's a jug, you know?
So Luka, oh, but a little slip with the right heel. Not a huge moment. I think scarier for us than her. She would have known she was still on the wall. And you're right, look at that, locking off those crimps, wrapping the thumb over the top of the fingers. Colin milks the rest on the right of your screen. Luka very tall as well. She can find good positions, but oh, we see her fall.
Seems like quite the cutoff move, that. Looks like they have to go and bump from the really, really small crimp, and I think the position is so powerful, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier about pacing. Like, it looks as though the previous sections are more like you can rest a little bit, you can take it slow, you can compose yourself on every move, and then suddenly you're hit with a brick wall, which I think is quite hard to deal with, because it's kind of out of nowhere. Suddenly you have to really, really explode with your arms, and when you haven't done that for 20 moves, it's tricky.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So sequences coming at you fast. Well, Colin now gets the rope sorted around his leg and then rocks up. He's past where Sebastian Helenke fell, and he's moving up into second position. Just Hannes's place to go. This is where Hannes started screaming. Colin Duffy comes down. He never quite looked in his flow during that run, to me. Snatching a little bit at quick draws, and you can see...
he's not happy.
No, he's not happy.
He is not happy.
So he will have to reset. That might not be enough for finals here tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I actually expected him to get slightly further there, just because he's very, very good at resting. And the position he was in earlier, the same as Sebastian was resting in for so long, it looked like he could recover so much from it. So it's hard to tell what happened here. I mean, it's kind of like the feet aren't so good, and then you kind of have to explode for this slopey crimp. Did he hit the quick draw a little bit?
Yeah, sort of
what happened on the way up?
Scraped it through. Maybe we can see that again, but... And then immediate disappointment. And Colin keeps a lot of his emotions to himself, but I think we can tell from that one he's not that happy. And he's actually walking towards us on the stage right now and looking frustrated, shaking his head. So Colin Duffy maybe not doing enough. But we move on. Ryu Nakagawa is on the left and Romanik Jeffrey on the right. So the French, another French athlete. French team's strong at the moment. Good.
At the moment.
Yeah, at the moment they're just, I mean, generally pretty strong, you're right. Coached by Roman de Grange, who's won here, so he has some experience.
I think they had 11 out of 12 athletes in total in semis.
Wow.
Which is, you know, crazy.
Yes. It's interesting how certain nationalities are coming through at the moment. I mean, we saw the speed yesterday where Team Indonesia and Team China are dominating that, and then Team Slovenia, Team France for the lead. It's interesting. Team USA, of course, what an improvement they've had over the last couple of years. The Ryu getting going. Tall climber. She's really performed well in the last couple of comps. Rook especially. And Lila's very impressive from here, from her. But the women being careful through the bottom of this route. The first 3 quick draws, everyone taking their time. Oh, that move for the men. Oh, it's so physical, so shouldery.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Those type of mistakes will punish you so hard on this type of route. Sometimes you can recover, but I don't think you ever recover enough for it to be your best performance. Like, you can't fully recover after that type of slip up.
Do you mean recover mentally or physically?
I mean physically. I'm sure mentally it's quite draining for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, because a mistake down low, I mean, he's only 3 draws in. He has already had a foot pop. It must start to sort of play in his head a little bit.
He had to fight already. Three draws in and he had to fight. I mean, he's definitely strong enough not to have to fight that early, but those mistakes makes it so that you don't have an option. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake and you just have to fight it through.
And the thing is with where he's at now is he's using pinches, but it's a dual text surface, or the slippy part I'm calling no-tex, I've decided. But his thumb is on the no-tex bit, and it's not a good pinch because of that.
Yeah, those type of holds gets you more pumped than you can even imagine. Especially when it's actually quite surprising how much the thumb can give you on those holds, and especially when you lose that friction, you get twice as pumped, almost.
Now he's into the crimps, upgrades the feet. Ryu is in the pockets on the left. Neither athlete looking 100% comfortable yet. They need to climb themselves into this route. Temperatures are good in the stadium. There's a bit of a breeze blowing through. It's nice and cool. And the wall in the shade, of course. And that's a great angle as he comes around the corner. Fairly blind that, you have to look for it.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell, I guess, on screen, but it's a pretty massive volume that he's standing on with some jibs on it, but it extends the angle of the wall a little bit, so the route setters can use the smallest of footholds they can find. But if they put the same ones on a 40-degree angle, they're just basically unusable, and they would campus instead. So now they get something for their feet.
Yeah.
Okay, he's into the good rest.
Yeah, he gets a chance to shake here.
Recompose himself.
If you're just joining us, welcome to the semi-final. My name is Matt Groom. I'm here with Emil Abrahamsen in the commentary box. Athlete, YouTuber, celebrity. Romerick is making good progress as he nears the head wall, but we know that it's all about the next few moves for the men.
Yeah, this is the cutoff point, and basically the next move. 2 moves from now.
Yeah, and the same for Rio as well. That's a hard sequence she's about to do. And you can see trying to work her feet out because she needs to go to the left. She goes on the left of your screen, and Romerick goes as well at the same time.
But he did manage to stick the sloper on the right, which does put him in a better spot, actually.
Yeah, so he's currently got a 31 for the score. Now, if you don't know how the scoring works, well, a top getting to the end of the wall and clipping the quick draw there, that's called a top. That's the best score you can get. But every hold has a number associated to it. So the higher the number, the higher the climber has gone, the better the score. A plus is added when the climber uses a hold, and that is defined by your center of gravity or mass going towards the next hold and your hands. So you can't just slap up whilst falling backwards. You have to make progress towards the hold you're going to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be a bit ambiguous sometimes because what you basically have to do is move your hips towards the hold. So some athletes, if they are, ridiculously pumped, they know there's no way that they're going to hold the next hold. They'll basically try and just push their hips more than their hands to get to the next hold so that they can guarantee the plus. Because if they keep their feet down low and just make a static movement with the arm, or a dynamic movement with the arm even, it might not amount to the plus. So that's how the judges make the call. If their hips are moving, then they're changing their position, and then they get the plus.
Yeah, the judges have to make that call, and I always find that's a hard one.
It is a hard one. Especially, indeed, it's so hard because it can make such a massive difference if you get the plus or the hold or everything. I mean, so far, all the athletes have fallen at roughly the same spots, so those pluses will be valuable in the end. And, for instance, hitting that hold that we just saw on the right of the men's, it's an important part.
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't want to be a judge right now. Well, Matthias Posch is underway. Team Austria all have a very similar haircut currently. they've brought out the bleach. It's a style. You'll see Stefan later on. He's got a similar one. So Matthias Posch is underway, and then on the left we have Laura Rogera from Italy. There she is. Was in the finals in Villars last week. Back where she belongs in a lead wall. She did compete a lot in the boulder season this year. But lead is her speciality for sure.
Yeah, she's definitely looking to get a medal today. I know she's been just one spot out and I think it was in Innsbruck, she was 4 seconds away from getting a medal.
Yeah, Brooke bumped her by 4 seconds.
Yeah. That's because they got the same score in Innsbruck. They had the same hold, but Laura climbed a little bit slower, and so it just wasn't enough
to get the medal. Due to 2 groups in qualies because of the amount of athletes who had registered, so they had to do it on time, which was interesting. It's not something usual. I think it was 2017 was the last time we saw that happen, so it's not regular, but certainly added something to it.
Yeah.
Laura now powers upwards. Ooh, big cut loose from her. She'll make the clip and then move left into the pockets. Matthias Posch looking pretty relaxed up there.
For sure.
Check out the black hold. Well, it's not a hold, but the black thing to his left, where his left foot is now. That blocks a bolt, making sure the athletes don't stand on it.
Yeah, it's something that's been missing for quite some time, and that I'm really happy they've introduced into the competitions, because dabs or touching stuff that's not allowed on the route is one of the worst things I feel can happen in a sport climbing competition, because it really usually doesn't do anything whatsoever. If you touch a bolt with your foot, like, of course, if you stand on it, it will make a difference, but if you gently grease it with the top of your toe when you're moving to the next hold, like, that will not help you. And so I think it's an unfair way to separate the climbers. Like, it's not so fun. For instance, yesterday, Jesse Grupper from the USA, he touched the arete of the wall on like the 10th hold, and I think he placed second to last on that route because of it. And then he proceeded to climb all the way to the top of the route and fell on the last move. Otherwise, he would have been guaranteed into semis.
Yeah, I forgot that we haven't seen Jesse in the semi-final. He's been such a regular.
Yeah.
So impressive in the first 2 comps. Oh, and Laura is easily through the crux and should move up into first position, I think.
Most certainly. Well, I think so too.
And for Laura, she's climbing quickly. She tends to be a bit slower, but she's pressing ahead here. And remember last year in Chamonix, she had like a real turn of speed on this wall.
Yeah, yep. It's interesting to see. I think it's something she probably works with quite a bit. I mean, her endurance is never ending. She can hold on to the smallest holds for days. But they only have 6 minutes after all, so you also have to work on that speed and the explosivity.
Laura gets into the underclings. Will there be a chance for her to have a rest? That's the angle she's on. Really overhanging up there still.
The crowd is cheering and getting excited over here. It's very nice to see.
Yeah, and we look at the scoreboard on the right, way ahead of everyone. Laura, again, not having the best qualifying run, so she's down the order. She's someone we'd expect to see in the finals.
But I think there was one move on women's route number 2 that had kind of like a strange dyno, I believe, and cut off a lot of people who you usually see. Ooh,
Matthias goes down. He made good progression as well.
I think he hit the same spot as Hannes there. No, sorry, Hannes got the next hold and then went for the one after.
So Matthias is on 34. Laura is climbing her way towards the top. Now this is an interesting sequence. It's a mantle-style move up here. High right foot, then you've got to press, but it's a long way for her. Oh, that's a big rock up, isn't it? So now begins to press.
She's gonna have to clip first. Oh, there we go.
Awkward clipping handle for Laura.
Yeah, the thing is, if you progress to the next hold, which I don't think she would be able to clip from, you're actually not allowed to climb down and clip the previous one. Because you're not allowed to down climb on routes, basically. So it's good that she realized. Yeah. Oh, there she goes.
Pressing through. So could we see our terse top for the women here? Trying to get the left foot up, really awkward.
Looks very strenuous.
And the thing is, it's restful-ish, this. I mean, you are sort of hanging on, but you can see from her expression, it's not comfortable having a left arm like that.
No, I mean, that's such a pressy position, and especially having not been able to get the left foot earlier must have messed with her a little bit, but now she looks like we might see a top.
Yeah, we could do. That right hand is on a pebble-like feature.
It's something I like to refer to as a nothing hold.
Agreed. So one jump to go for Laura. She pops for the top.
Oh, and there we go. That's a finals for Laura.
Yeah, and now watch this face. Struggling with the rope a little bit, gets it in, and this is a celebration. I think every photographer zooms in on Laura at the top of a wall for that shriek that she gives, that cry. Awesome celebration from her.
Yeah, she's stoked. She's stoked.
Super happy. All she wants, she's so hard on herself sometimes, all she wants to do is climb again and again and again.
Yeah. I think a lot of athletes are, I mean, some will just have a focus on getting the gold, silver, or bronze, but I think for a lot of climbers, just getting to do one more round is so satisfying, because you get to climb more, and that's the thing. Like, they're all so passionate, and getting to do one more round is so valuable to them.
Yeah, if you've travelled all this way, you're staying in a hotel, you're with the team, you've got to warm up every time, just getting knocked out in qualies, especially if you're someone as good as Laura, is frustrating, obviously.
Yeah.
So let's watch some replays of this. Laura is all smiles as she leaves, although we're just actually watching something here, which we'll talk about in a second, because Laura is being talked to by an official. So we'll keep an eye on that and let you know. But that was when she came down. And Laura actually is looking devastated with us down here. Matthias Posch falling high on the route. Good job from him. So yes, I know you guys can't see this, but it's important because Laura, there might be an appeal, but the judge certainly came straight over to her and she went from euphoria to looking devastated.
Very devastated, actually, yeah.
So we will let you know if we get an update on Laura's position. And remember, things aren't guaranteed. There are appeals after events, so things can change around.
Yeah.
But our next two athletes out, Giorgio Tessio from Italy, and on the right, Milan Preska from Slovenia. There he is. I didn't see anything in Laura's climb that would indicate that, but
sometimes it's so hard to tell. Just like any small touch of a bolt, or I don't know. That's usually the thing that happens, or touching the arete of the wall or anything. like that can put you down a few spots.
Well, we'll let you know. But her teammate, Georgia Tessio, is underway here.
She's been doing really well in both lead and boulder this year, it seems.
Georgia, yeah. So Emil's just going to try to find out what happened with Laura. So you stick with me at the moment while we try to find out what's going on. And that is Milan Preska coming through on the yellow volumes there. So he makes his way through the initial thuggy sequence. Our split screen showing both the athletes in action here. Georgia Tessio. She's on the pinches and the pockets, trying to get a knee bar, like a knee scrub in there. Oh, it is a knee bar as she rests. Not much of a rest, but enough to take the pressure off that right arm. And look at Milan, high heels there as he takes a little rest. Well, Emil's joined me back in the commentary box. Emil, did you find anything out?
Well, I only have a very diplomatic answer for now. She said she couldn't comment until they had made the official, answer to it. So something got appealed, probably, but we don't know what just yet.
That is fair enough. Well, the judges are looking at that. We'll let you know about Laura's climb. So, Milan he's about a third of the way through. With the Crimson, Georgia now has to start her journey to the left, and this is where it gets really hard. We saw Luka Rakovitz resting here on that tiny crimp, as Emil said, probably less than 10 mil on that. Look at that left hand, small holds. And this bunched up position for the athletes, it's an awkward one.
Ooh, foot slip, but she recovers from it. Impressive. So this is the, oh, she sticks it.
Oh, and then another foot slip. And I think that's fascinating because what you said earlier about, not recovering from moments like that, it seemed like that happened to her there.
Yep, yep.
Couldn't bounce back. Milan, he's in the rest, the best rest on the route. Are you any good at those double heel rests, Emil?
Generally, I have a bit of a knee injury, so currently I am not fantastic at them. But actually, this is more my rest, a toe hook in there as well.
So he is standing up tall as he eyes up the head wall. This is where things get difficult for the men. I think up to this point, it just burns them out a bit.
Yeah, he's fiddling a little bit more with his feet than I think he would like to. He is, because he doesn't look pumped, but he looks tired. I think he probably has some juice left in his forearms, but I think he's physically getting drained, which could pose a bit of an issue for this next move, actually.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it? The big rights.
The thing is, with that type of move, when you're hitting such a shallow sloper, it's so important to get it with good momentum, and that's where you really need the strength left. Even if you're a little bit pumped, you could probably latch onto it and kind of, stick it, at least stick it and hold it. But if you don't move with the right momentum, it kind of becomes impossible to hold, even if you have enough strength left or pump left. So yeah, looks like we lost Milan there.
Yeah, it's the worst feeling when you're sliding out of a hole that you think you've got. You're close to.
Especially when you feel strong enough to hold it, but you just hit it with the wrong momentum. It is not a good vibe.
No, so he will leave the stage, falling where a lot of athletes have. Be interesting to see as we near the end of our comp how well they're separated. Well, that is our stage. The athletes enter in the middle, where the blue curtains, it's not really curtains, I don't know what they're called. Curtains, I'm going to call them curtains. And we can see now Jessica Piltz comes through for the women, Masahiro Higuchi for the men on the right. And Jessie Piltz, she's had an up and down season, got really unlucky in bouldering.
Say the least. Well,
so close so many times.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, but her lead comps have been heartbreaking as well. I think it was it the finals in Innsbruck? Yeah, it was the finals where she fell really, really early on.
8+ was her score.
8+, and then in the semifinals in Vilars, it was almost even earlier. And she's definitely not happy with that. I mean, she can push on for long.
I mean, she's been on the circuit a long time. She'll know these things happen. But will it be in her head, do you think, a little bit? Will she be particularly careful with her feet as she goes?
Could be. The thing is, if you're too careful, you won't make the finals anyways, because the long line of strong climbers is, well, it's like 26 people here who can all make finals. So you still have to kind of force a lot of risk in there. The margin you have to be able to keep it safe throughout an entire route like this it basically doesn't exist.
Yeah, so it's that balancing act, isn't it? You don't want those early slips, but if you tense up too much, don't just unleash and climb, then yeah.
But I can imagine that maybe for today she'll want to just get to climb until she gets tired, at least.
Yeah, poor Jessie. So unlucky for her. Can she turn it around here in Chamonix? Would be a good place to do it. So Masahiro Higuchi coming underneath the volume. Left hand in the sloper as he reaches through into the crimps. And Jessie Pilz finding a good resting position in those pockets that aren't as good as they look. The route setter told me that with a little wry smile on his face. Masahiro is looking, he's having to figure this sequence out, doesn't want to fall low, gets that right hand, which is a slopey crimp, not the best, not positive, bumps up the right and locks it off, wrapping that thumb over. More solid from him. And Jessie Pilz, well, no early slips from her, which is great to see. She'll get a chance to fight through the first crux section of the route. It's coming up, the traverse to the left, swinging the feet, getting the feet bunched up on the right-hand side. And Masahiro is one move away from his rest. Upgrades the feet again, looks for the slap, gets it into the crimp. And a high heel. And Emil has been chatting to one of our judges here, so I think he's going to get a Laura update. We'll find out in a sec. So Jessica Pilz, this is the crux move. The left hand horizontal on the wall. Masahiro using that rest. And I know Emil has found out some information. We'll get that after these athletes finish their route. And Jessie, I was just saying, thank goodness, no early slips from her. She gets to fight now.
Yeah, she's very high up. I didn't even realize because I was talking to the judge. Very nice.
So Masahiro, a bit of a thuggy move to get underneath. And Jessie, this is where she can rest in a sec. Couldn't get the hands matched, and she comes down. And now Masahiro Higuchi, but that'll be second place for her. Oh no, it's first, because yeah, I'm sure you're about to tell us why.
It's very exciting, yes.
We'll wait for that.
But we will...
So Masahiro crosses through. There's a screw on that yellow volume. You can see the no-tech surface for his thumb, horrible to hold on to. This is the sloper. Looking solid.
Yeah, fairly, yes.
And now the crimps, which are slopey. I think the next one, is that for a thumb?
No, it's for a thumb, yeah. This is the type of hole I was talking about earlier, that it's very hard to tell how much you can get, because every climber here will know these holds that he's on right now, but the thumb press is hard to tell how much that will affect the actual positioning and then how you can climb this. See, and now he switched to a full crimp, for instance, and he's not even using the thumbs anymore.
Horrible, slopey holds, those. Big move out. Ooh. Moves into third position though, as he goes upside down on the wall.
Should be second in a second, actually.
We'll wait for the upgrade on that.
The plus.
All right, go on then, Emil. You were chatting to the judge. So what's happened to Laura's score? What went on with that?
So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier that gets me really riled up. Basically, so she is in second position right now after Jessie, who just got the 30th hold, and Laura has the 28th one. Because apparently she had her foot inside a bolt hole.
Okay.
And that caused the judges to well, not give her any
So she touched a bolt?
No, a bolt. I think it was a hole.
Right.
Not a bolt.
Okay.
But we'll see. It's. I would assume the Italian Federation will make an appeal to that, and we'll see a further discussion on it. Hopefully we can see a replay of it. I'm not sure exactly like where it was or how it looked.
Okay, well, maybe during the... we've got a cleaning break coming up, so perhaps we can see a replay of that moment. I mean, certainly from her expression, she obviously didn't think that was the case. So as you said, the teams can appeal these things.
I'm a bit unsure. I also thought you could, and this is maybe me being a complete rookie suddenly, but I thought you could stand in bolt holes. And maybe I misunderstood and they meant bolts, but that's what they said. So yeah, we'll see. I'll update you all if I have any more information. But for now, Laura is in second position with the 28th hold. So she still made it far, but according to the judges, not all the way to the top. And yeah.
Okay, so her score got downgraded to where she touched that hold or where something went on. Yeah, because you can stand, especially on volumes. You know, we saw Brooke Rabatu drill her toes into one. So.
Yeah, but yeah, that was kind of her thing last year. She did that on so many competitions and it became a talking point. But I don't know if you can, I mean, maybe you can't do that anymore and I've just missed the rules.
We'll check it for you. But
yeah,
anyway,
we'll check it.
It's a good update.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as mentioned, it could have been a miscommunication and the judge meant bolt and not bolt hole.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So we'll see later.
Okay.
We'll keep you updated.
Well, but she is currently in second. Now, Elisa Adamovska, who I love watching climbing because she has the potential to do really special things. Briançon, she won last year.
Right.
And there was a wonderful moment where Adam Ondra topped out the quali route yesterday at almost the same time as she did.
Yeah.
And as he did it, he pointed over to her. It's like
really?
a double, yeah, it was brilliant. Double celebration.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was great. And then on the right is Philip Sheck from Italy. So he is underway as well. So we are nearing the cleaning break. Still 4 athletes to go before the route setters will get a chance to clean things up. And Elisa is in a position, we saw a possible knee bar rest coming up here with the right foot. And then just here, but it doesn't look like the best knee bar. She chooses a toe instead to rest.
But it does look very relaxed, so seems to be working for her.
Everyone always talks about keeping your arms straight when you rest, Emil. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You shouldn't keep your arms bent, always, like keeping it straight.
Yeah, I actually thought about this a little bit yesterday, that discussion and how it's very common, especially when you teach a beginner how to climb, that you want to have a straight arm. And it is definitely to a degree true, but the thing is, it's only if you can keep your arm straight, if it makes sense to keep your arm straight. At this level, their biceps are going to be strong enough to be bent at all times on a route, and it won't affect it all. This position, for instance, where she just chalked up in, is a completely bent right arm, and it's just because the hold is good enough for her to stick on to so that it's worth it. But you can't really have a straight arm on a slopey pinch.
Yeah,
so
that's a really good point.
Yeah. It's true to a degree, but I think it's sometimes oversimplified. For a beginner, though, it's definitely the best resting position because beginners can usually not, hold their biceps bent for 5 minutes straight.
Yeah, and also I suppose if you have at least get a big slip on the left, comes down. Bit of a mistake from her. These foot pops. I mean, a foot pop, we always kind of call it a mistake, but sometimes it is a case of you just haven't got your weight in the right position.
Yeah.
Or you're not putting the weight through your feet properly.
Yeah, that happened to me yesterday, actually. I had a proper heel slip. It was like this heel that was completely jammed in, and I was so sure it would stick, and then it popped off. And at first, I was a little bit tilted and annoyed, but then I realized that it was just me. It was like I wasn't performing as well as I should have. I wasn't applying the right tension on the heel. It wasn't the heel that popped. It was my foot that popped. You know what I mean? It's still my responsibility to make sure the heel stays on, because you can adjust it, you can place it more thoroughly.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because so often it's like, oh, I slipped and that was it. But it's usually, I mean, you're the climber on the wall. You're in control
the one
of your
doing
feet.
it. It's not somebody else tossing a rock on your foot and it slips off. It's still your responsibility, although it does feel arbitrary and it does feel strange, and you feel like the world is against you in a way, but it's still your fault. Like nobody else forced you to put your heel there and put that amount of pressure on it.
Yeah, I think there's a difference in sort of a dry fire, which does feel more like luck of the draw.
Yeah, that can sometimes feel like more luck of the draw. Although again, skin management comes into play. To be fair.
Yep. Okay. It's just so complex climbing, isn't it? Yeah. It's one of the reasons I love the sport. In the face of it, it's very simple, but there's a lot to it. And look at this from Philip Schenk. Yeah, he's looking good. Matches the heel to his hand and shakes out as he comes to the crimps. I'm interested to see whether he keeps the thumb moving up here, because perhaps it's easy to drop the thumb and turn it into a crimp to go up.
Yeah, I mean, Masahiro did that earlier. I believe it was. No, it was Higuchi.
Yeah. But he doesn't keeps that thumb locked in, but he hasn't clipped that draw.
Oh.
Down he comes. So that crux section of the men's route, it's like it's just a gradual burn up to there, and then it really kicks in.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's coming up to 11 o'clock Central European time here in Chamonix, France. The audience has been filtering in all morning. I've got Emil Abrahamsen in the commentary box with me, and we are watching the semi-final for the men and women. They climb at the same time, and the rotation only comes when both the athletes fall, and we're looking for the top 8 to get through into tonight's final. Yesterday was the speed, Emil, and we didn't see any records last night, but it was a great speed comp.
We did see some for the qualifiers, though.
Yes, we did. Well, we saw the world record go 5 seconds dead, which is crazy to think about.
Actually crazy. And technically below 5 if you consider the reaction time of 0.018 or something like that.
Very true. Have you ever tried speed climbing?
Yes, but not enough. I would really like to give it like 2 or 3 weeks of training and see how fast I could get. Yeah, I'm very curious.
You're the right body shape for it, for sure. You've got the muscles there, Emil. Well, next out is Jilu Liu from China, and then Arsène Duval on the right from France.
It's so funny. I was talking to her, one of the coaches for the Chinese team, and he said that her, like what she was really happy about, because she placed 3rd in Brixton, I should mention first in the bouldering comp, and she was just really happy before the competition to be in Europe, to compete at that level and just climb. Like she had no ambition to win it. It sounded like she was just super happy to be climbing, and then she places 3rd. I mean, it's just ridiculous, some of these climbers.
Yeah.
Literally no experience. No experience of Europe, no experience. I don't know if she'd even been outside of China yet. And then she comes to Brixton and places 3rd. So impressive. Yeah,
her coaches told me they didn't know if she'd be any good compared to international athletes.
Yeah.
You know, they knew she was good on the national scene, sure, but like compared to everyone else, who knows?
And like being able to deal with those nerves and that pressure, just that performance is enough to call it an impressive season.
It is, and I think lead is perhaps her weaker discipline, and we haven't seen her make a finals yet, but it'd be nice to see her get in. So she drops the left leg into that jug, cuts loose for a sec, replaces the right foot, and Arsène is underway on the right. That is Jilu there. Swinging around. It's complicated, the women's. It's straightforward moves, but kind of a lot of foot swinging to get yourself into position.
I think it's quite a tactical route. You have to plan it quite a bit. So I'm sure they must have read the start quite thoroughly and tried to, because I think they saw that it looks a little bit easier compared to the rest of the route, and so they're going to want to be as efficient as possible and waste as little energy as possible in the start. Perhaps doing some more risky dynamic moves and forced positions and just, you know, like forcing the progression.
Yeah, finding the flow through it. I mean, it's something that people like Janja are really good at, that sort of that dynamic pops and flares, someone called it. Dynamic flares. Janja will be climbing later on. So Arsène gets the high left, and then he'll get the sloper, get the right in, and have a nice rest. And there it is. Jilu Liu is clips the draw, and now she enters the first women's crux. That right heel she has in can pop. We saw a couple of slips before earlier on. It was Luka. That cable cam pans around, and that's such a good angle to show how overhanging the wall is.
Yeah, from this angle it almost looks vertical, but it is far from vertical.
Yeah, check out the quick draws. That's always the telltale sign. Look how far out they're hanging. Oh, and he shoulder presses through. Gets the crimps, and Jilu goes through the crux. It's one of those moves that you spend a long time getting yourself into position, and then you suddenly fall.
Yeah.
He nails the sloper, gets the thumb on the jib.
The crowd starts to go wild here in the background.
Ale's echoing around the Place du Mont Blanc. Locks that thumb in. You can see how tiny the edge that the thumb is on. Spectators walking down below, gazing up in amazement at what they're seeing. He's resting here.
I think this is the thing that we were talking about earlier. If you have a good enough heel, you can find a rest where there really just should not be a rest. Because these holds, if you only have small jibs to stand on, you just try to push through them as fast as possible. But with that heel, and especially the French are not bad at heel hooking. Oh. Yeah, he made good use of that rest, it looked like, but it's mainly because of that right heel, I believe.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to rest on that crimp and the thumb, it's not very restful.
Yeah,
you're right. Found the heel. There is our crowd. They all sit on the ground, which is pretty nice to see. There you go.
There's so many people here.
There's so many people. Yeah, you wait to the finals tonight, Emil. It's spectacular.
I can imagine. Whole city comes out.
Yeah, it really does. And on the right, we've got stands. There's a climbing wall people can try climbing out.
Yeah, it's such a fun event. They have so many things going on. I find that very nice to see.
And being Chamonix, you've got sports everywhere. You know, just walking to the venue, walk past the midi, you've got people going mountaineering. Yeah. And above our head, there's lots of paragliders swirling around.
Terrifying.
Terrified sport.
People flying above me.
That was our saying as he comes down. Oh.
I think he had more to give, unfortunately. It looked like he wasn't completely, you know, exhausted. He probably had 2 or 3 more moves to go.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, the next 2 athletes are now on stage. We have Futaba Ito from Japan and Sam Abazu, another member of Team France. So the athletes, they did get to read the route before they climbed. They'll take this opportunity to reread it. And certainly Futaba Ito, I think it's 40 seconds they get?
40 seconds, yes, when they're out on the field of play.
She used every one of those 40 seconds, and now she begins. Sam Abazu from France gets going. Just 21.
I don't know if we've ever seen anybody time out when looking at the route, because it can be kind of like tranquilizing. Like you're just looking there, or hypnotizing almost. Like you're just there, you're looking, you're thinking, and it looks good, and it's a nice route, and you're psyched to climb. So I could imagine you accidentally staying for 45 seconds and then getting a 0. It would be so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's ever happened, actually.
I've never seen it. I'm sure someone out there can tell me if it has. We did see an interesting thing last week in Villars with time. Jesse Grouper getting timed out but continuing to climb, and he actually got a yellow card for that.
Yeah, oh, right. Yeah, I remember that.
So Futaba Ito. Again, I forget how young she is, because I say her name so often because she's so good.
Yeah, she's participated in a lot of competitions, and I think almost always has done quite well.
Yeah, you think of the legends of the Japanese team. I think of Miho Nanaka and Akio Noguchi. Akio, of course, who has retired. And Futaba Ito is definitely, I think, will take that position in years to come.
Yeah, most certainly. Within a year or two, that'll be the case.
And of course, all of these athletes have got an eye on the Olympics. And we have the European Cup coming up in August. That's the first time we'll see the new combined format. So excited to be there.
The championships.
Yeah.
Yes. Indeed.
Are you competing in that one?
I'm not sure yet, actually. We'll see. We will see.
A lot of the places for that haven't been decided yet, so everyone I seem to ask is like, yes, I think so, but it depends.
Yeah, I think the teams will probably decide soon. It's been a bit of a discussion on how many spots each team will get, because they're trying to reduce it a little bit so that there's not too many competitors. But I will know later.
Okay, we'll watch this space. So Futaba Ito rests in the pocket.
And Sam Abazu getting into the first. This is kind of like the first crux, I suppose, because so far I don't think any of the guys have made it below this point, but he did stick it. And now we'll see if he makes good use of this right heel rest as well. Yeah, he looks comfortable.
He does, I was about to say, really good. Heels in again, easily through the crimp. So Sam Abazu, we're going to see some progression here. This is a really hard move, though.
Scream. And the crowd goes wild. One more move, and then he has the high point.
Oh, he gets it. So finally, Hannes Pullman gets beaten. He bumped off the top spot. Finally. He was there a while. Now
I knew we were going to see this. Somebody trying to jam their foot into this crack.
Well, it was deliberately put in by the route setter so they couldn't. It's the only reason it's there, to stop the knee bar.
To stop the knee?
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
That's why it's
Interesting.
there. Oh, Futaba Ito comes
Futaba
down.
Ito pops off.
Yeah, because I saw that crack, and I immediately, because it's a crack and everyone loves a crack, I was like, can you jam it? Is it possible?
If we don't see Adamovska jamming his foot in there and then like doing a no hands rest, then I'm done.
That's a really good part. I'll be disappointed too.
I am so sure you can is the thing, and I would be so happy, and I know the crowd would be so happy if they just saw Adamovska chilling there, you know, bat hanging for 30 seconds.
Upside down,
I would be so happy.
Ah, well there you go. That's something to look forward to. Adam is climbing later down the order.
And for those of you who don't know, he's well known for his incredible crack skills, especially in competitions. He made history in Myring in 2019 when he obliterated a crack in the finals there, and it was just so crazy to see because so many guys had struggled on it before, and he just came out and destroyed it.
Emil, I'm not sure about that. Is a flared-looking crack if it is one.
Well, fair enough, but who knows? Who knows? I mean, it's Adamovska.
Look, I would love to see it happen.
Yeah, you would, right?
But yeah, according to the route setters, that crack-like feature is only there to stop. There it is in the top of your screen there by the EP logo, but it's to stop the knee bar.
I think you can get a foot in there. I really want to know, but I do think you can get a proper jam foot in there.
Tell you what, Emil, during the cleaning break, you can head up. Check it out for us.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes.
Yeah, we've got a cherry picker behind us. Maybe we can go up on that. Well, we are a few athletes away from the rest and the cleaning break. So Satone Yoshida, Kokoro Fuji, Melina Costanza, and Molly Thompson-Smith, the last athletes out before that break. And we can pause and watch some replays in that moment. The sun is creeping towards the wall, but don't worry, it doesn't come into the sun until about 3-4 o'clock. So it won't really affect the athletes. It will affect the audience, though. Might see a few umbrellas in a bit.
I saw a lot of burnt faces yesterday, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, a few from the coaches as well.
Yeah.
Tom Greenall, GB coach, was looking particularly pink yesterday. Right, so our next few out, Melina Costanza. She's having a really good season. Climbed in the FISU games and did well. And then Satone Yoshida on the right. Such a flowy climber.
Oh, yeah.
Satone. Yeah, he climbs like I wish I could, is that man.
Yeah, he progresses from flowy to floaty. He just almost floats up the wall when he moves. He's such a fun style to watch.
And Melina is underway. Clips in. And Team USA, what progression they've made. A lot of it is to do with their head coach, Josh Larson, who's been a real inspiration to those guys. And I actually forget Josh competed until really recently on the IFSC circuit. I think it was 2018 he stopped.
Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah, he seems very valuable to the team. It's fun to see. Like, I think it is becoming more and more established that the more of a big team and solid foundation you have to work with, if you have like a gym that everyone can train in together and everybody lives in the same city, it can make such a massive difference.
Yeah, Salt Lake, the hub for USA training. And Melina with a really awkward resting position. It's a toe hook and a drop knee combined. And Satone is underway, thugging his way through the bottom section. Resting well. Melina, a mini shake out there with the right hand as she goes up to the pinches. Oh, look at that from Satone. Melina bumps up to the pocket. I've only seen one athlete get that knee bar in where her right heel is. It's not really the best of knee bars, but it can be used.
Did she use a knee bar?
Melina didn't. I struggle to remember who it was who did, actually. I think it might be Georgia Tessio. She kind of just took the pressure off, thought about really jamming it in, and then maybe realized it wasn't the best position.
Yeah, the thing is, if you do find a good knee bar, it can make such a massive difference on this type of route. I mean, if you can rest 30% extra, it can put you 10 spots above where you would have otherwise. So you will usually desperately look for one if you can, but they're very, very, very rare.
How do you practice it? Because a lot of commercial routes, you know, it's not a regular thing we see.
No. I mean, commercial routes compared to, well, when I say commercial, it's very, very generalized because it's different in every country. But in most places, I would say they're so different from these competition routes that you can't even start to compare. It's usually better, if you don't have a gym with these type of routes being set, it's probably better to train on a spray wall and do circuits and try and build up a max endurance. And most commercial gyms will also not set at a level that's near enough to train for these athletes, at least here in Europe. I don't know how it is in the US and in Japan, for instance.
Melina comes down on the left. No, it's really interesting, Emil, because, yeah, I think you're right. Because it's, yeah, those odd positions we see in World Cups you don't really see in a lot of gyms.
Not at all. Not at all.
Look at that resting position for Satoni. That's different from, instead of getting the toe out to the right, he's got a really high heel on the crimp. It looks awkward, but it worked for him. And Melina just fell, getting out of the rest position into the crux. That move seems to spit a lot of athletes out suddenly. And look at the men's top 7. Look how close that is.
Yeah,
it's Sam Abazu.
Like, nobody has made it below this point of the route. No slips, nothing. But it's interesting that it's so close regardless and that nobody's actually progressed all the way to the top. Because, I mean, you should expect the first section to kind of either be really easy and everybody, makes it further than they have now. But I don't know, it's a strange separation right now. That's actually perfect for a competition. But it's surprising that so many of the guys have made it this far.
Yeah, agreed. And this is the sequence, really. But he's doing well. This big move when you're pumped. Has to be so accurate to that crimp.
But from what I've seen, it looks like he's very, very good at kind of like, recovering when you shouldn't be able to recover. When he does a move that's not perfect, he can still kind of latch it regardless. And usually when you're this tired, you can't. Come on, let us see the heel toe cam.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We'd love to see it, but I'm not sure how efficient that would be. But I
have a hard time reading the sequence here regardless. Like, even if we don't see a heel toe cam, is it just right, move your feet and jump?
Yeah, I think it's quite straightforward. Yeah, just a straight pop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Satone now looks for the clip. He must get it in, and he does. First athlete to top the route. Well, you'd think that would be finals for him, Satone Yoshida getting through. But we have a lot of athletes to come. So
we do. And if the rest of them top it, we go to countback, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and he's lower down the order, so it's not guaranteed yet. But he'll know, I think, that not many others have topped it, just from the reaction of the crowd.
Yeah, and the music going wild, etc.
Yes, so it's always a giveaway, that. And this was Melina's fault. So she got the left hand, was quite low, and it missed the screw-on.
The screw-on.
Bumped into it, and that's where.
I wonder if she knew that was there. It's kind of easy to miss. I hadn't seen it until just now, and I mean, we've been looking at this live stream.
Yeah.
I mean, they do, of course, read the entire route, so might not have missed it, but it was a very, very shallow little crimp inside that hold.
The route setter just walked past our commentary box and was looking, sort of had a bit of a shake to his head. I think he might know that men's route is a bit easy.
Yeah.
Because he told me how hard he thought the bottom section was, and it's not proving to be.
I think, though, with Satone, I mean, he's a very, very, very good climber. And, I mean, of course, the rest of the climbers will be as well, but the ones that have been so far are also very good. Like, there's not... The separation, I think, could still be there. I mean, it's a shame if we see 10 tops of this semi-final route as well, of course, but I don't think that will be the case.
No, I don't either. And, that's what we're looking for in a route, is the separation. And to be fair, that's what we've achieved at the moment. So we'll have to see. Well, Molly Thompson-Smith is in action on the left, and then Kokoro Fuji on the right. Molly looking determined as she approaches the wall, and Kokoro as well. And we talk about, well, I sometimes call this man a climbing robot because he's pulled off moves, especially in Moscow for the world champs. Just outrageous campusing ability.
Looked impossible until he came out and did it.
So he's a climber who can do some amazing sequences. And Molly is underway. She hasn't made a final this year. Would love to get through.
But she was very close, right? She was 10th in Innsbruck or no, Villars.
Right on the edge. The only GB women to make it through. We've got a few GB men, Jim Pope and Hamish MacArthur climbing later on. Molly solid through the bottom parts, and Kokoro Fuji flowing underneath. We saw Satoru Yoshida just cutting loose a bit through that move. He didn't. Bumps into the pocket, works his feet to the left. Nice and smooth from him at the moment.
I think he's such a fantastic climber to watch. He pretty much always has a smile on his face in one way or another. Even when he does these, weird things that you really shouldn't, like a foot sleep, he just kind of laughs it off, and it's inspiring to see.
So athletes in sync at the moment as they climb. Look how small those screw-ons are for the right foot, and fairly blind as well. Bumps up, and Kokoro is a move away from the rest here. Comes up to the blue, and then he'll get heels and toes locked in.
Looking fairly comfortable also.
Yeah, Molly had to bump into that right toe there, but caught it well.
I do think the section that we've seen a lot of the women pop off at should suit her quite well. I feel like it should.
Yeah, those kind of cut loose physical sequences she loves, and she enjoys climbing on as well.
Exactly, yeah, she enjoys it, and she's very strong at it. So, I mean, she should approve of it.
She should. How much can she rest here? That right foot is not on a lot.
Interesting. She kind of looks like she's just going to go. We've seen a lot of climbers rest here for quite some time, I feel like.
She looks fresh at the moment.
She does look fresh, so maybe that's why she's not using the rest. I mean, the holds are they're pretty small, and they will punish you in a way, but sometimes it's just worth it to shake out a little bit.
I think Kokoro Fuji's getting a little pumped here.
Could be, yeah.
Can he find a rest again? He didn't rest for that long.
Trickling with the clip.
Oh, and Molly goes.
Oh, no.
It's that move.
It really is that move. But it's funny, we have seen quite a bit of separation. I mean, if you look at the scoreboard on your right now, there is a fair bit of separation. It's the 24th hold that we've seen people struggle with quite a bit. But all the way from position 11 to 6, we have separation there, which is, it's good.
Oh, those crimps, that crimpy pinch. So Kokoro Fuji is in 8th. I don't think that's going to be enough for a finals place for him.
I do think he would probably get the plus, though.
Okay, so maybe
he'll be bumped up a few spots, yeah. But, I mean, I can't say for sure. It's up to the judges.
Keep an eye on that. Well, our camera pans around once more, showing us the mountains. And we will have a little bit of a pause here. It's the cleaning break, and the route setters are immediately on the wall. So, and this was a replay of Molly's moment, her fall.
She didn't look so happy when she came down, and I presume it's because the hold she was going for, she knew was going to be quite good, but she didn't quite hit it. She went a little bit too far up and hit a part that looked to be no textured with her pinky and ring finger is what it's called in English, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Which definitely, I think if she would have hit the hold, she knew she would have held it quite well. And it looks like she held the first part of the hold quite solidly also, so I don't think she felt like this was the point to fall off. And that's the worst. Such a bummer.
Our camera is picking up some of the famous mountains around. So some famous mountains in the background. We just saw the Dom de Goutier in the background. That's the normal way up Mont Blanc, and then that is well, actually, the name of that mountain has escaped me, so I'll be quiet before I put my foot in it. Satoru Yoshida, he's currently on top, the only men's top so far, and then a lot of the men falling around the same sequence. Sam Abazu, great performance from him. My co-commentator, Emil's teammate, Hannes Booman in 3rd place at the moment.
Yeah.
Great to see him
I'm
in the
really
final.
nervous to see this, actually, because it's like, you could really make finals. I mean, 3rd position with 30 more athletes to go that's good. That's good. But
exactly.
it could be on the edge. But we'll see. It's hard to tell how difficult the route is going to be for the rest of the men.
Yeah, and there's some big athletes come. Sasha Lehmann, he qualifies high up. I said his name wrong during a qualifying video recently. I apologize about that. I called him Sebastian Lehmann, so there's a few people pointed out to me. I made a mistake there. And for the women, well, we just saw Molly Thompson-Smith climb. She's in third at the moment, 25. A few athletes falling on that 25 point. Melina Costanza and Georgia Tessio in the same place. Jessie Piltz on 30. And Laura Rogera bumped down to second. And we are going to see a replay of the moment that we think is the issue.
Yes,
So we'll be able to check it out and see.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it in a way, but also not, because I really despise when those things happen. I mean, maybe if it's something that she did that was clearly a step over the line, it's fine. Like if you stand on a bolt, of course.
Well, let's have a look at it, shall we? Let's see what happened with Laura. So, check her out on the left.
Oh, it was the bolt. Oh, come on.
So yeah, look at the right. And to be fair, I mean, it's hard to tell from how far away, but if she is on it,
the thing is that I don't like about that, because they could cover it up with the. If you see on the right-hand side of your screen, you see those blockers for the bolts.
Yeah.
And I think they could just block that. You know?
Yeah. No, sure. I mean, but okay, if I'm going to go the other way, everyone has the same rule, right?
True.
So, if she touches it and it's in the rule book, is it not fair that she gets penalised for it?
No, it is. It is. But it's just more like the preemptive things we could do to fix it is what I'm more ticked off about. Because in that scenario, for instance, she got literally nothing from that right foot. It was completely extended. She did not have any form of tension on it. She probably thought she had her foot like touching the rope. I mean, you saw the joy in her face when she came down from the top. She did not expect that she had somehow dabbed that little bolt. And it's the thing with a dab, like, if it's not really giving you anything, what does it matter, you know?
Yeah, and we're not implying that she was cheating from it. She's not using it deliberately.
No.
You know, it's definitely a mistake, because they know that if they get spotted doing it, they'll get penalised.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know, it's just, it always ticks me off a little bit when those things happen, because I feel like it should be something we could prevent. It is trickier on these overhangs, because I don't think they have any form of construction yet to block the quick draws that are in an overhang to make them actually like do the things they have to. They have to be able to swing out quite a bit. And
true, but then we see it in, I mean, Villars, there was every bolt seemed to be protected.
Yeah.
I think on the women's route, I think.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah,
but then I wonder why are some of these bolts blocked and not the ones that they actually clip into?
That is a very good point, and I think sometimes it's a case of time. I mean, we know how hard the route setters are working. They were there till, I think it was 2 in the morning yesterday putting these routes up. Wow. But you're right. I mean, the technology exists, and we saw it in the Olympics, for example. That wall was blocked, so it avoided that. And that's the thing, isn't it? Because if you're climbing, no one wants to touch a bolt. They're trying not to. And if you can put something in to protect the athletes from making a penalty, it makes sense.
I think especially because you can kind of assess some of the moves. At least, maybe I'm just, you know, speaking out of my ass right now. But basically, I feel like some moves you can see, like, okay, there she was going to slide with the right foot to move over to the left because she's holding on a sloper and she's trying to match that, which means that the right foot will slide along the wall. It's not going to move in a solid position. She's not going to move from one foothold to another. She is going to slide it across the wall. And that's basically what happened. She slid it across the wall, and it kind of got stuck where the rope was, but which also happened to be where the bolt was.
Yeah, no, you're right. Well, interesting analysis there. And we watched some paragliders up in the sky. We were chatting about them earlier, floating above our heads. They are dancing in the wind above us. Part of what makes Chamonix such a special place is sports like that can take place. I wonder if they're looking down thinking, we're fools for climbing on a rock. I mean, I'm talking about paragliding. I'm a paraglider. That's what I do. So it is a great place for that.
I feel like I got to try it sometimes.
You definitely should. I'd take you up, but we'd fall together. I am not that good yet. Yeah. Learning new skills, and Chamonix is a great place for that. Well,
how long are you up for when paragliding?
I have a very small wing, so I tend to go up and come down quite quickly.
Okay.
Because my goal was to climb mountains and fly off the top. But
oh, cool.
But it depends on the thermals, so you can stay up. And also, if you're better than me, you can stay up a bit longer.
Okay.
Well, we're in a cleaning break now. You can see the men's route is almost done, nearing the head wall. Kokorofuji getting an arm massage, getting some of the pump out.
But see that smile. He's like kind of smiling.
Yeah.
He doesn't look too beat up.
The athletes get together in that bottom part. That's our crowd. Not full yet. It was packed yesterday for the speed. It'll be absolutely rammed for the finals. 8 p.m. Central European time is the finals. Emil, are you going to climb up Mont Blanc while you're here, or are you sticking to the rock?
Well, I don't know how difficult it is to climb up one of those things. I'm such a boulder slash, climbing on small lead routes. I don't think I've done like a 40-meter route even,
Okay.
So I'm a little bit too close to the ground, but I would like to make some sort of big hike around here. That would be a lot of fun, I feel like. It's so beautiful. It's actually, because this is my first time here, and it was quite astonishing to drive in here and just see the mountains everywhere and the snow, and I miss snow. I haven't been in Sweden for a long time, and
Well, you have been on the road, haven't you? You're following the circuit around Europe and living in a van at the moment.
Yeah.
How are you finding the van life side of things?
It's been a lot of fun. Like I've really enjoyed the season, but it has not been my best season. It's been very hard to. I've tried to train very hard and consistently and well, but I seem to not be able to hit the right form on competition so well. So it is tricky. I mean, I haven't been in bad shape really, I wouldn't say, but just living in a van makes it a little bit harder to have consistent training, and consistent training is one of the bigger, I think anyways, one of the biggest aspects to performing well in competitions. So you can kind of really, really plan out when your form is going to max out, and also mentally prepare yourself for like knowing that you're going to be in good shape. For me, I've assumed that I would be in good shape, and then I kind of just haven't been so well.
And things like diet, cooking in a van, making sure you get the right calories, is that harder?
I wouldn't say it's too bad, actually. I think it depends on what you eat, probably. I eat mostly vegan stuff, and there you can kind of just eat as much as you want, and then you get a lot of calories in. So I'd say that would have been fine for me. But it's been good. It's been fantastic. Europe's beautiful.
Yeah, and then you're heading back to Sweden at the end of the season, or have you any plans for that?
Yeah, probably. I haven't fully decided what life's going to look like in the coming months, but we'll see.
And of course, you have a very big YouTube channel. The climbers will know Emil's. How much does filming kind of come into your day-to-day?
It's basically that I plan something every day or try and film something every day. It takes a while to edit videos also. In a van, it takes even longer, I would say, because you're always, it's tricky. But basically something with videos I do every day. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So go and check out Emil's channel if you want to watch training, bouldering videos. I know you're working on I was watching you on Off the Wagon.
Oh, cool.
That climb.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's going to have to wait until the season arrives for it. Late winter. I'll probably try that again. Very impressive boulder here in...
Is that Rose move in the middle, campusing outwards, facing what would be the audience if we're in a boulder comp?
I actually think that move inspired almost a decade of route setting competitions, or it's almost a decade and a half by now, or 2 decades. Just that we've seen that so many times in competitions where they dyno to a pocket, in bouldering specifically, but sometimes, I mean, it's getting introduced into lead now as well, but dynoing to a pocket and then doing some sort of campus move to another pocket or something hard, and it's... I can kind of feel like it's from Off the Wagon that
I think you're totally right,
yeah.
You see it so often, and I never want to say to route setters, did you just copy Off the Wagon?
Yeah. But it does feel a little bit like it.
It does feel, yeah. But it's a spectacular move, and the fact that that's a move on real rock is
it's
crazy,
incredible,
isn't it?
incredible. Yeah, it's so cool.
Well, the route setters have finished doing their jobs, so the route is cleaned and ready, and we move into the second half of the semi-final. Natalia Grossman will be out last for the women, Yannick Floe for the men, and if you've been waiting patiently for Adam Ondra, he's coming in 2 climbers' time, so Paul Jemft, Luka Poticha, and then Adam Ondra for the men. Adam, of course, a father now. He has kids.
Right,
a child, I should say.
Yeah, I heard he was going back after this to, I think, hang out with the family a little bit.
I asked him if it would change him in some way, and he looked at me sort of shocked that that would be a thing. But, I mean, having a kid does change things. Well, anyway, Paul Jemft is out on stage. The young Frenchman will be looking for a strong performance, and Camille Pouget on the left, again from Team France. She's on the stage and will be underway in a couple of seconds. The crowd react accordingly. There's 2 French athletes climbing. And It's been a while since the athletes observed the routes, and both of them are taking their time to reread it, although Paul slightly less so. I think the men's route more straightforward.
Yeah, I think so. Like, there's that's the thing when they set with not so many volumes and very big holds. It's just that you can kind of just wing it and go for it and try and just push through it as fast as possible, because there's not going to be so many tricks behind it. You just have to go, kind of. And that's definitely what Paul is doing right now. He seems to be just pushing through the first section. Ooh! A little bit too quickly, I might add.
Too enthusiastic there from Paul. So hopefully he'll be able to keep it together.
I feel like that's quite a rarity from him. You usually see him sticking his feet on the wall consistently, and like I feel like that's the first proper foot slip I've seen from him. But he recovered well and quickly, so I don't think it punished him all that bad.
No, and he is low as well, so he'll have more of a chance. And Paul is a very tall climber, and it tends to change the way he sees and reads sequences, especially rests.
Yeah, it is a bit of a tricky element, trying to read for your own height and for the different heights, because you can break so many moves sometimes, and it's just, you can make a massive difference. And you can also do the opposite, that you try to do the intended beta and you get too squished in if you're a little bit taller.
Yeah. And also, I presume, quite hard to find another athlete to read the routes with.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
You're not out there, so who does he go and talk to?
Maybe with Hamish, actually. I wouldn't be surprised.
True, yeah. So Camille on the left, cut loose, swung around, and there she is, just nearing the rest, the crimpy part of the route. You can see her, the women's crux just before the head wall. And Paul Jemft, you can see silhouetted on that wall, is in the rest. Double heels in.
And they're both about to enter the sections that we've seen a lot of people struggle with. I'm actually surprised that it seems like the men's route goes a lot quicker in terms of holds. Like, because he's almost up to, well, I mean, he has a few more moves to go after this rest, but he's almost up to hold number 30 where everyone else has fallen off of.
Yeah, it was a quick climb from both of these athletes, actually.
Yeah.
And look at her disappearing the big turquoise volume in the middle. It just shows you how big that feature is. The route setters can't actually set through that because it acts like a ledge if you were to fall onto it. So they have to almost avoid it, and that's why the women and men's route curve to the left and right. Oh! She almost looked like she got caught up with the foot, perhaps.
Maybe. I think she just went a little bit too low on the hold, or not too low, but she didn't go with enough force on the left. When you go into that type of compression, it's so important that your body is as centered as possible, so you can apply as much force from each arm. The more you are on the right, the more you will be able to use your right arm. The more you are on the left, the more you will be able to use your left arm. So I think she just didn't go hard enough.
So Paul stretches up.
Right. Time for the first crux, I suppose.
Oh, he went so low on
jumps
that.
to it. But this is the thing. A lot of climbers have used the foot where he has his left foot for their right foot, and it's kind of punished them. But because he's taller, I think he just opted for the jump and said, like, oh, I have the energy for it, let's just go. Yeah. And it did him well, clearly.
Yeah, he hit the slope well. Maybe really a little lower is better for it.
He used his height well there.
Oh, but he goes left.
I think this part is so tricky to figure out the best, because anything you do wrong here will punish you so hard. Like if you go with wrong momentum, you're just gonna barn door off basically, because the heel is so narrow.
And he's not using the thumb on the right. He's locking the crimp.
Yeah.
Oh! How long can you be on a crimp before falling?
Exactly. Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, that move is a tricky one. Well, Paul is done, Camille is done. I'm not sure it will be enough for either of them for finals.
It's very hard to tell what the score is going to be. Like, sometimes you can kind of assume what it's going to be around this time. Like, you know that the top athletes are going to come out, but since the round yesterday was a little bit easier, it's anything can happen, kind of.
And look how long he was on this crimp for. Goes up, eyed it up a few times, had it, and then fell. Oh, look at that. Shows the savagery of that crimp.
it looked like he couldn't quite decide whether to go dynamically or statically and sort of mix the two. That just made it into like a pretty bad dead point. So when he got to the hold, he was almost falling out. I think he had the energy to hold it, but it's just that it was so far away that he looked a little bit unsure which method or which decision would affect him the best.
Yeah, he was certainly in two minds, went back and forth. Meikataki, oh sorry, Risa Ota enters the stage. Meikataki's after her, and then Luka Poticha on the right. And Luka is in good form at the moment. That's our crowd, flags waving. And the reason they're waving at us is because they're projected onto a giant screen to the left of the wall. So it's that classic look my mum on TV moment. And there is Luka there. As he gets underway, strong, strong climber. It was brilliant in Innsbruck. It's not dark, don't worry, it's just that camera there. Night has not descended yet.
Also quite young.
Luchka, yeah, he is. And then that is Risa Ota. More experienced, 54 competitions, but no medals. She's looking to break through. And this team, Japan, I mean, we always talk about how difficult it must be just to get into the national team.
Yeah.
You have to really prove a point.
But it's fun though. I mean, a lot of teams are kind of starting to compete or like really push them, not down, but even the playing field a little bit. I felt like for a few years it was kind of like Japan versus the world, you know? But now it's really like, you know, you have the Team France that have so many people in the semis. You have the US team, the Slovenian team, of course, it's fantastic. Like there's so many good teams now. It's interesting to see how the level is just progressing so hard. And I've heard a lot of the route setters say that it's almost like one of the tricky parts is with each season, everybody gets so much better. Like every year, the climbers are still progressing to a level that's just insane. That it's hard to anticipate and know, okay, how is this going to be?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think with the inclusion of the Olympics as well, the climbers, there was a point where climbers started to train properly. They thought about their diet more. And they became more professional as athletes.
Yeah, well, certainly.
So Risa Ota, it's going quite slow at the moment, resting well. And then Luka is nearing his first rest, speedy climbing through the thuggy part of the route. You have to. He locks in the heel, he'll make one more move and then he'll find a rest. Opts for the toe on the right and the heel on the left. And that quick draw there, you can see a much longer dog bone in the middle. That's to stop any rope drag through the head wall. Risa gets the heel locked in, and she's resting on the pocket.
Looks like she's really taking her sweet time. I don't think many of the athletes have gone this slowly yet, I feel like.
Yeah,
We're resting
right.
so much in the beginning.
Yeah, certainly on these moves, I haven't seen many rests.
Yeah. It's hard to tell if it's a tactical decision or that she thinks that these moves are going to be a little bit too taxing, so it's worth it, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, the rest looks fantastic, and yeah.
It does look good. You kind of wonder why other people haven't been doing it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking also. Is it, how come the tactics differ so much?
Yeah. Well, Luka is into the crimpy pinches. Struggles to find the left foot, now locks it in. That quick draw swinging, knocked it with his head as he came through. Now makes the clip. He's got to watch he doesn't stand on the rope.
I do think the way Hannes did it, to clip from the next sole, was a pretty good decision, just because this move has been so taxing for people. And it looks like the hold that he has right now is good enough to clip from and kind of relax a little bit extra on. But if you hold the left hand for too long, you just get a little bit too tired. Oh, but there.
Well, he's into the last sequence.
Into the last sequence,
block.
yeah.
You can see why the route setters put it in, because the knee bar you could get by pressing off where his left foot is would be great there. You can see wanting to get it. Are we about to see another top for the men? Satoshi Yoshida, the only one to do it, and Luka gets it as well, and he will go to the top of the leaderboard due to count back on this one once he's clipped this draw. So 2 tops for the men.
I would assume the route setters are scratching their heads quite a bit by now, but it's still, we have a really good separation, so as it's standing right now, it's a very good round. It's just when you see early tops in the semifinals, it can be a bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because if we have 10 tops, then it's kind of...
Yes, then it becomes very tricky. And Elisa Adamovska here is taking her time throughout the route. No danger of running out of time, but slower from home. Look at this screw on this move. It has got a tick mark, so she will know it is there. Off the crimp.
Oh, and she sticks the... Oh, no. Also heartbreaking. It looked like she had it really well also, the hole, and that she could actually control it to move further. But it seemed like, at least from the angle we saw it, it looked like she missed the right foot quite a bit. And if she would have hit the right foot, that she would have stuck it. But maybe we'll see a replay and be able to tell a little bit more thoroughly soon.
Yeah, her feet were kicking wildly as she came down. Well, Adamovska is out next. Just watch.
We can finally see that foot jam that we've been longing for at the top, right?
Go backstage, have a word with him, and just ask him to stick it in.
Just please, just please.
Just for me. That was the top we saw, the pop up at the left, and at no point did he look like he was really struggling. Strong climbing from him. Well, you heard it announced in the background. Adamovska comes out to a roar of the crowd as we watch Elisa Adamovska here. Oh, that was the foot. And then got tangled up in the rope a little on the way down. There's the left foot. Oh. For a heartbreaking moment, I thought with watching that rope being pulled through the other side, I
thought that as well. I was like, oh no, there's an accident. And then
exactly.
Like, okay, it's fine.
It's all good though. Just panicking here in the commentary box. Adamovska is out. He's back on the scene. His first lead comp of the year. Hasn't competed in Chamonix since 2019. Cruised through the quali routes. And he is underway in the semi-finals. And there is Meika Taki. One of the smaller climbers for the women. And in the same way as Paul Jempf has to change things because of his height, she does as well. And we see some interesting sequences from her. And now Adam, I think, will enjoy this style of route. He's a physical climber. He likes to thug it out occasionally.
I just feel like whenever somebody says, I think Adam will enjoy this type of route, it's kind of redundant.
Yeah, true.
I said that to him yesterday. Like, oh, I think you'll enjoy this next route in the qualifiers. And then I thought about it. And it was just like, well, which route doesn't he enjoy and which route doesn't he excel at?
And he has been climbing solidly on real rock this season. I mean, he's ticked off multiple 9A pluses, 9Bs. It's like he's using that as his training. So will he be practiced on plastic? That's the question.
Skipping holes already.
He is,
not looking, he's looking fairly confident.
He is at the moment. He's made no qualms of the fact that the Olympics is a priority for him coming up. He did not enjoy the speed scene. So lead and boulder should suit him. Look at the speed he's climbing as well. Straight through it with the high heel, resting in a slightly different position, using the crimp, now rests again.
I would assume they know by now that it's kind of, you have to get really far on the men's route because they've been out for so long. I mean, partly due to this rest, but I would assume that they know it's the head wall that counts.
So Adamovska with the rest now, 2 heels in. Great from him. And then Meika Taki crossing through, smooth climbing as she goes upwards. And Adam gets the high pinch. Good work from him, easy from Adam, cruising at the moment, but this is the first really hard move, and well, not making it look too difficult, does he? High heel in. Oh, but now he's having to struggle, making room for that heel, drops the fingers underneath the hold. Adamovska locking off the crimps, not using the thumb. And Meika Taki underneath comes through. Big bump out to the left, kicks the feet, and she drops down onto the rope, and her comp is done. But Adam now That's the second hard move, makes it stick well into the crimps, gets the left pinch locked in. And Adam now, Emil, this is your move. Will he stick in the toe?
He sees a knee bar, and he knows that the knee bar is the reason, though. So I don't think he will put the jam in. I think he sees that he could get a knee bar in there, but that they blocked it.
Well, Adam doesn't do the bat hang we kind of hoped he would, but he's going to go to
It's almost a jam.
It's almost.
It's not
gets
quite.
The foot in. Well, Adam cruised his way through that sequence. Great from him. And down he comes.
Yeah, impressive. So I've got some news, actually.
Okay, go on.
Laura's appeal, or the team appealed for her dab, and she's actually been pushed to the top again. So the top does count now, and she's therefore in first position.
So,
and if I understood it correctly, it's completely final now.
Okay, so she got penalised, they appealed it, and that appeal has been upheld, so she has topped it out again. Any reason why? So she didn't touch the bolt in analysis, or did they not?
I would assume that because the thing is, I can't say for sure. I can only, theoretically. I would assume that because she's not using it in any way, shape, or form, she has it with the like toe part of her foot, that is not helping her progress on the route in any way, and that they might, accept it because of that.
Sure.
Because I'm pretty sure she touched it, and that to some degree it made sense to push her down her down a little bit. But I'm happy that the appeal went through, actually. Personally, like, I think that's more fun. She had such an impressive performance, and she deserved that top.
Well, that's the Laura story. So it's a full circle for Laura Rogerova, but she has been reconfirmed as topping out the route, as did Adam Ondra, we just saw. Adam making things look pretty simple on the right. One of our IFSC photographers, Lena, running after him there to get the shot. Well, Manon Healy looks up. Now, we had a discussion about her glasses because she reads the routes with the glasses on, then takes them off. We had a co-commentator saying they would be terrified climbing in glasses in case they might fall off. But she does take them off for a run. And then Jim Pope from the UK, there he is, from GB, is underway as well. And I don't want to say it was a surprise that he topped the semis, but he hasn't been in this kind of a form for a while, and he looked great during qualies.
For sure. I promised I would talk a little bit about his biceps, because he's a very, very, very strong climber. Like, he's done so many hard outdoor boulders, and I don't know really about his route streak, like how many hard routes he's done, but he is just a very physically fit climber. So I think, actually, I do think this route will suit him very well.
Yeah, I think the quali routes, because it was almost pure endurance for him, just a fairly straightforward endurance route, it suited him.
Yeah.
I know he's climbed 8C+ outdoors in terms of a route. I don't think he's hit 9A yet, but I might be wrong on that.
Oh, really? I mean, you could definitely be right, but he has more than the capacity to climb 9A.
Absolutely, I might be wrong on that one. So take that back immediately.
Yeah.
So Manon Healy from France is climbing on the left, and Jim Pope on the right. He's down as James on the official list, but he prefers Jim, so we'll call him that.
He's known as Jim Pope on a rope.
He is indeed. He is indeed. So he crosses through. We know where the hard part of this route is. He won't know that, of course. I think he'll be pressing through the endurance section, but he hasn't made a semi-finals in a while. What will his fitness be like? What will his skin be like at this stage?
That's true. But I think the biggest issue for him right now is his pacing has been a little bit slow, I would say. Like, he's taken it a little bit slower than I'd expect. But again, massive biceps. You can take it slower if you have massive biceps.
Manon Healy on the pockets, bumps up where she'll get the heel in a minute, cuts loose. She reaches through to clip, and she'll take an opportunity to rest in a sec with the heel in if she spots it, which she does. There it is. And then she rocks over onto that hip. And Jim as well did what Adam Ondra did, rested on the crimp for a sec, then bumped up to the sloper and will rest again. Look at how solid his feet are, no movement at all. Healy gets gets her feet over to the right now. This is the sequence for her where we see so many slips from the women. Out she goes,
nice.
solid so far.
Flicks
Again,
it.
flicks
Very
that
good
rope.
for
A
her,
lot
yeah.
of the athletes have done that.
Yeah, yeah. Fiddled with it a little bit.
Yeah, it's awkward. Drops in to the undercling. Manon Healy through clean. Big cross through, and then she'll have an opportunity to rest soon on the undercling.
And I believe the undercling is where Jessie fell earlier. Oh, that puts her in the third position.
It's a good performance from Manon. We might see her later on. Jim, meanwhile, is a little below the high. Well, he's close, and yet a long way off because of how many athletes have fallen.
He's fiddled his hands in the wrong way, actually. I mean, he might make it work,
He's
but
gonna
now
have to match,
he
isn't
has
he?
to match this really.
Oh,
Oh, no.
that was an optimistic
Yeah.
snatch there.
Unfortunate.
So he is down the order. That won't be finals for him, but good to see him back in the semi-finals.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he just got his hands mixed up, couldn't make the match, went for the, what do you call that move when you bump your hands and grab? I'm trying to work it out. It's not a double clutch, but it's that kind of thing when you bump.
It was kind of like a Houdini swap double clutch.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a terminology I haven't heard before.
Yeah, because the move when you switch your hands, like you flip from a right hand to a left hand to match, is called the Houdini swap. And what he did was a double clutch whilst doing the Houdini swap.
Okay. I've never heard of a Houdini swap. That's brilliant.
Oh, really?
I'm nicking it.
Ah, okay. Maybe it's not that common that people use it, but yeah, that's often what it's referred to, that type of move.
Well, this was the...
Yeah, this is the Houdini swap double clutch.
Brilliant. Well, I've learned something today. Thank you, Emil.
You're welcome.
That is a very climbable peak above Chamonix. Kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from the comp scene. It's the high altitude granite scene. So, Doyeon Lee is out. He was looking impressive yesterday. Good performance from him in the qualis. Doyeon Lee is underway.
And he placed second in the Boulder World Cup in Innsbruck, right?
Yeah, so strong performance. I mean, he's a very good boulder. He's very young as well. He was only 19. I think he still is. I missed the graphic there, but... And it's nice to see because he's a bit of Jongwon Chon sort of prodigy coming through.
I've seen that a little bit. I've seen some, very respectful posts towards Chon Yong-won, and that they seem to have a very good camaraderie, and like you said, sort of like a protege.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
I think Jongwon feels like his comp scene is winding down, whereas Doyeon Lee is on the way up. That's what Jongwon told me anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But Jongwon has a...
Because he doesn't look so weak to me.
No, exactly. He told me he's getting a bit old, but I couldn't see that at all. Especially not this season. So, Hélène Gencourt from France is on the left. Another French athlete in this semi-final. There's Doyeon Lee on the right, crosses through underneath. Nice sequences from him. Look at the size of Hélène Gencourt's chalk bag. There's no faster light going on there.
One. Yeah.
So Doyeon Lee makes the clip and good resting position. He won't stay there that long, but
yeah, he seems to be taking it very slow. Actually,
yeah, Adam Ondra was speeding through this section.
Yeah, he was.
Time not a factor for anyone. Happy goes with the thumb on that pinch. Doyeon Lee crosses out and under, and he's about to get into the rest. Look at that, such a dynamic climber. Cutting loose.
Yeah, his feet are always swinging somewhere, but he manages to use the momentum from them, so, it's all good.
Gets the toe locked in, and now he'll rest on that as our camera pans backwards. Place de Mont Blanc filling up with spectators now as our afternoon progresses. Coming up to almost 12 p.m. Central European time here. We're nearing the end of our semi.
We are. It's getting a little bit warmer, I would say. So this slopey route might be getting a little bit tougher from now on, potentially.
True. So will the top 10 or so athletes start to struggle? We'll have to wait. Look at Helen on the left, easily through the crux, didn't twig the rope as the others have, and then she'll reach up to clip. And this is where her teammates, Manohili, just fell, coming through the head wall, the lip, I should say. Look at the size of that drop knee. Knee pointing always down to the ground. She gets an interesting knee bar in, but she's got to watch her hand.
Oh,
She's
wow.
trapped her own hand.
Oh, no. Oh, the frustration.
Yeah, I think she made that a little harder for herself,
Yeah,
that
I think
sequence.
that's what I mean with those knee bars. Like, you really want to find them, but they are so rare, and whenever you find them, they're usually quite forced. So it's kind of risky to go for a knee bar because they put you in a very awkward position if they don't stick on.
Yeah, knee barring her own fingers. Unfortunate.
Yeah, for instance. Not fantastic.
And Do-Yeon Lee is looking really good here. We could be on for another top if he can work out the crimps. Oh, starting to fight though, comes into the pinch. Looked like he was thinking about making a clip and then decided against it. Oh, makes it with a right hand. That's an awkward clip. Adjusts the left hand.
Oh, we had to readjust his feet. You could see that on his left foot, he was kind of bumping it above from the left. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that the foothold was so bad, or the previous handhold was so bad, but he had to readjust the left foot a little bit too much, and it looked like it put him in a position where he couldn't quite get good momentum for the next hold. But I don't know. He looked kind of fresh. I was surprised to see him fall there, actually.
Yeah, it suddenly went to pieces for him, didn't it? He was looking great. Well, next up is Alex Megos as we watch a replay of Helen. This is the knee bar. Look at the hand, locked it in and then realized that she tries to move up, but it doesn't come out. Had to almost pop the hand out, and when she popped it, she fell.
Yeah, she popped the left hand, and when the knee started slipping, the right hand popped as well. So it's kind of like a triple pop in a way, which I don't think she was so happy with because she did not look too fatigued, to be honest.
No, exactly, and she wasn't even looking at her hand when it got trapped. She just tried to move upwards and then realized it was stuck in.
Yeah.
Do-Yeon Lee suddenly ran out of steam on the crimps. And that is the midi, 3,800 meters, and from there you descend to the left where that ridge is, and you access the Vallée Blanche behind, 12 kilometers over to Italy the other side. Wonderful skiing and climbing up there.
Have you been up there?
Many, many times.
Many times.
It's my regular commute to fun.
Oh, really? Nice.
So Vita Lucan and Alex Megos are out on stage as we continue to look at our mountains here in Chamonix. There is Vita Lucan, looked strong yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
She'd love to get through to finals. And then on the right is Alex. Vita taking a while, harder to read. The men always on first. As you can see, Alex gets underway quicker. He was joking around yesterday. Big character, of course, on the scene.
He is. He's a very funny guy.
He is. Part of Team Germany, him and Yannick Floe at the moment are on a different kind of level. Alex cuts loose on the shouldery press on the first tricky move for the men. And he's got a knee scrub in as well, then drops it down and goes up. And Vita Lucan is into these big half-moon dishes. Swaps her feet around and gets the heel in. So Alex would like to make a final here. I think the crowd would like to see him in it as well. Almost looks like he's got the black hold is no texture in it to block a bolt, and you can see why, because his left toes is basically on it. Easy to touch that and have a moment like we saw earlier with the appeals with Laura. Ooh. You can see Laura on top.
Oh, he's... That might be an issue, because I do believe Alex was using the quick draw to stay on the wall. Potentially.
Yeah,
we'll see about that later.
To see about that. I looked away and missed that moment. But Alex will continue until he's told not to, so he will go.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's like nothing he can do about it, really. He probably would have stuck it regardless, but it looked like, because he was clipping at the same time, so his hand was like basically at the draw, and I don't know, yeah, sorry, hard to tell how that will play out.
Well, he's got a toe and a heel locked in now, and he will rest. Very flexible is Alex. And Vita will start to really enjoy this. She's a strong physical climber, is Vita Luka. She likes it when she has to really try hard, grit her teeth and get involved in it. She might like this next part, but as we've seen, mistakes can happen pretty quickly there. Alex moving through the big volumes. So here is Vita Lukan on the hardest part of the women's route so far. We've seen 3 tops for the men, but only 1 for the women. Laura Rogera being reinstated at the top spot after an appeal. Oh, Vita, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was hoping against.
Interesting. I actually thought she would cruise that section a little bit. She's so physically strong. But I have a hard time actually figuring out what the biggest issue with that section is. We've seen so many climbers fall there and struggle there, but it's kind of tricky to understand what the biggest issue is. If it's just that it's such an awkward position, or if it's that the holds aren't good enough, or I haven't been able to fully decipher it, I feel like.
So Alex cruises up, thumb in action, and he's near the top of the wall now. Will he be the 4th athlete to top out? He's in 5th already.
Ooh.
Rests high up, looking at that glacier that you can see tumbling down the mountain behind him. Taking his time, trying to work out, because it is an awkward move, this. Once he gets the next hold, it should be over. Oh, what's that? Emil leans forward.
A foot jam here.
Is there a jam? He's dropped it if it was.
I would lose it.
Down. He is struggling to work out the movement here. I think it's more straightforward than you think. It's just a pop, but your knee almost gets in the way on that hold.
I think it's just, yeah, it's such an awkward position, and when you're pumped, that gets so much worse. And having to take the time to rest and figure out and understand, like, you don't want to drop it there, and you have, I don't know how much, but maybe 2 more minutes to go for him. So, yeah. Of course, he's going to take his time to figure out the best position, but even the best position, which I think is what he did it with, was still, like, he could fall off even then.
Well, Alex Megos should be through into the final. He qualified high up. He's made a top with everyone else, so even if everyone in the top 8 get tops, it should be enough for him. And Vita, yeah, look, it was just that going out to the left, transferring from the crimp to the side pull. Hard work.
Hard work.
Hard work indeed. Alex, yeah, he really wanted to make sure he got the sequence through the top. And a long time up there, got us all nervous. Job done for Alex, though. Shook his head a little bit, I think he knew. It was hard for him to work it out. It's the knee, because the thing is, you want to pop right, but the knee just gets in the way underneath with that blocked hold.
Yeah, it's funny, because I think the hold in itself that you go from the one they match and kind of like chalk up on, it looks really, really good. And like they can almost recover fully from it, which kind of makes it even worse and more annoying, because it's still not easy after it. You still have a move to do, and you really want to do that move, but it's hard to do it well, even though you're fresh.
Yeah. Well, Stefan Schutz is out. I talked to him yesterday. He's doing really well at the moment. This competition seems to be peaking at the right time. He's also got the biggest shoulders I think I've seen on the scene. Massive shoulders from him. He speeds through, getting really quick. Doesn't want to rush this, though. Look at the way he's climbing this. I think he thinks that you've got to move quickly on these slopers, which you do, but he doesn't want to snatch too much.
We've seen a lot of foot slips down here by now, or at least 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. And Mia Krampel on the left from Slovenia. Cuts loose, avoids the dual text. Only no text. Stefan has just, looks like he's settled down a bit. So Mia, high right foot, leans backwards with a straight arm to rest.
Yeah, looking very comfortable so far. But I feel like everyone has made the start of this route look, except from this move that we just saw, that has looked a little bit more stiff. But so far, it's looked very comfortable for most of the women.
Yeah, there's a few rests coming up. There's a toe we know you can get in on that bottom pinch. Stefan looking way better now. Just was a bit nervous to start off with, and now seems to have settled into it. Good rest coming up. Gets the toes in. Mia Krampel finds a good rest with the heel in the pinch in that pocket. I think it was Megataki who took a long time here. Stefan looking super relaxed now with 2 heels in.
Yeah, he looks comfortable.
So Mia Krampel, she climbed in the Olympics. Bumps the right hand again. You can see the chalk left by climbers gone before. Bit of a hint to the athletes where the good parts are. Stefan now is into the last
That's kind of a hard move, actually.
Does that cross through, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you get it locked in, it looks okay.
Yeah.
That crux move looking less of a crux move.
Yeah, it's interesting to see when people actually stick it. That's kind of what I meant before. Like if you hit it with the right momentum.
Ooh, he loses the heel.
Jesus.
He had to hold that swing with his left hand.
Oh, that was a very impressive.
Oh, and he's going to do a Hannes Spoon and go through and then clip.
Jesus. But he has to clip.
No. I think, he thought he was burning out quicker, and I think he could have. He had maybe slowed down a bit, got that in.
I do think, but I mean, when you do that type of foot slip so high up, it's got to be so taxing for him.
Yeah. I mean, holding the power to hold that left crimp, because he was barn dooring off, only stopped it with that left.
Incredibly impressive to see him stick on, though. I was like, if somebody were to foot slip there, I would not give them the benefit of the doubt that they would stick it. So, cool.
And Mia with an enormous drop knee right down to the ground. Oh, Mia Krampel falls. And that's up to 4th place, though. And that for the women's route. I mean, we haven't got... we've got some big names to come, I was about to say.
We've got some big names to come, yeah. It's definitely not really over until it's over this round.
Yeah, for sure. 6 athletes to go in our semi-final. Remember, there's just 8 finals places available. So Mia Krampel will be nervously watching on here. Certainly not guaranteed. This was the cut. Watch the heel. He had it in. He starts to move, and it was a full pop, and catching himself. And that was the beginning of the end for him. Didn't clip, went for the pluses. Great angle to show how bad that right hand is.
Yeah, they can be a bit devious, those holds as well, because you kind of like, you fit 3 fingers really, really well on them, but getting the 4th on can be a bit tricky sometimes. And you saw him just now actually opting for keeping 3 fingers on it. Might have just been because he hit it with 3 fingers first and then didn't want to readjust because it would be too taxing. But still, I mean, there's like a little dimple in it that makes it a bit easier to hold with 3 fingers, or a curvature to the hold.
Yeah, a bit of a dish.
Yeah, a bit of a dish, yeah.
Well, 2 members of Team Japan are on stage. Natsuki Tani on the left, and last week's winner, Taisai Homa, on the right. Taisai wrote a great Instagram post about his win. Go and check that out. Meant a lot to him, that. As it would. Yeah, ground his way through the route, fought hard, and early on in the finals last week in Villars set the high point, and it wasn't to be beaten. So it matches the yellow pinches. Remember how bad the thumb is. You can't get a lot from it. There's no friction. Wraps his toe into the friction part of that hold, then a big drop knee. Some crosses coming through. Oh, this looks awkward for him though. He hasn't quite figured the sequence. Look how high that heel is. Oh.
Well, that's the thing with some really strong lead climbers. If they see a heel, they will take a heel.
And I know it's a bane of route setters' lives, that one, because they have to constantly think about the weird heels that climbers might find. Yeah, exactly.
Do I need to block this? Do I need to block this?
And what they used to think was impossible isn't anymore. They've had to adjust their own route setting.
For sure.
Well, the DJ kicks off the music. The sun is blazing into the arena now, and everyone is enjoying the party atmosphere as we come to the final few athletes in our semi-final. Taisai Homa on the right, Natsuki Tani on the left. And Natsuki, again with that rest. A lot of Team Japan have done that similar sequence. I think they read that together.
Yeah, probably read it together and said, this is the one we're going to use to recover fully.
Taisai Homa. Careful, ooh, but he reached down for a clip, decided to go again, which is better because that heel is definitely the best clipping position.
Yeah, I think he's gonna thrive on this next move.
Keep an eye on the scoreboard on the right, by the way. The voice in my ear has just pointed out that Alex has been bumped down the leaderboard. So we'll look at this now, check as it changes.
Actually, he's below Taisei Homa right now.
Right, so there was an issue really low for Alex, and although he topped it out, he's been counted down. So as things stand, he won't make finals. There he is, look, it's just 13 he's been awarded.
I would assume that's the quick draw I was talking about a little bit earlier.
So yeah, he kind of grabbed at it as he slipped. He was falling and held on a little too long.
The thing with Alex, and I guess we will probably see an appeal about it, is that he's so strong that it's probably hard to tell if he was actually using the quick draw or just locking off with his bicep. Because he could definitely stick to the wall. Like he definitely didn't need the quick draw. But the problem is if his intuition kicked in and he grabbed it and like pulled on, because then it's it's impossible to tell if he got usage from grabbing the quick draw or not.
So Taisai Homa works his left foot around the quick draw. Looked awkward from him. This is his style though. He's not always the smoothest of climbers, as you can see.
Like a wrap, yeah.
But he just has an endurance engine in him.
Endurance is just, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, he was the same in Villars, the shots. Yeah, Taisai Homa just, in no way is it wrong. It's just he looks like he's about to go, but he might do here. Gets the right foot up, battling hard.
If he gets this, I think he has a very high chance at making finals now.
Oh, slaps out to the right. He is in 7th unless he gets a plus.
He's going to come in 5th now, actually. He's going to push my teammate down one spot, which I do not approve of, but I'm happy for him nonetheless.
Have a word later on.
Yeah, I'll have a word later on.
Natsuki Tani is on the mantle. We haven't seen anyone here for a long time for the women's competition. Now, this is the wrong way to do this, but she's making it look good.
Yeah, that looks fairly comfortable for her.
But the right foot, she's got to find the hold, which she does. Now, the route setters thought that would be the most awkward way to do the mantle. But she made it work for her, and she could be about to top out here. So Natsuki rests before the jump, and it is a monster dish, this monster jug, if you can get it, but it's half a body length away. She pops right
and she sticks it.
There was a moment I thought she was going, but she doesn't. Makes the clip, and Natsuki Tani will be in finals. Great from her. Right, well, we will see a replay in a couple of seconds of the Alex Megos incident, which has bumped him down to just 13, from a top to 13 for Alex. I'm sure we will see an appeal, so it's not in stone yet.
Exactly, the official results come after the competition, when everyone's had a chance to appeal and discuss things and talk things through, because sometimes, it's maybe he didn't actually use the quick draw, and if they can prove it, then it's definitely on to finals.
Absolutely, and we saw that with Laura. She was bumped down and then bumped up again. So Natsuki Tani rested, popped, held it with the right hand, thought about matching it, didn't need to until then. Awesome from her. So we'll see her climb again this evening. So Alexandra Totskova is out on the left. Domin Skofitz is on the right. Now, Domin is such an interesting climber because he's won the overall. So we're watching this, Alex, so check this out. So he makes this clip. This is what we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I know it looks worse in slow motion, but that did look bad.
Yeah, it's the problem is what he would have needed to do is drop the rope, drag his hand out, and stick on to the left-hand hold, because it's unfortunately it really looks like he's kind of stopping the swing from his right foot.
Yeah.
The only problem is I think he would have easily been able to hold that swing, but the difference would have been that his right foot would have dropped way lower, and it didn't. So he probably.
You saw that the dog bone be weighted.
Yeah.
And I know it looks longer in slow motion, but anyway, we will see with the replays. But that was the incident where he got bumped down. So Alexandra Totskova is underway on the left. She had a good qualifying round. And then Domin Skofitz, I was about to say that he's an interesting climb. We'll talk about him when we see him, but Alexander at the moment. Yeah, so Domin he's won the overall before and then slightly struggled just to find form and consistency. And we haven't seen him make a finals in a while, but he's qualified well here in Chamonix.
Yeah, we're into the double top athletes now. The rest of the women have all topped both qualifying routes. And, well, now it's been like that for a few goes now, but a lot of the men have topped both of the routes, including Domin.
Domin has the potential. That's an odd move as he brings the right foot through and twists the hips. Drops the left knee, makes the clip. Alexandra Totskova with a really cool to watch style, the way she climbs. Gets the toe in. Domin having to slap there, nearly missed it. He'll be looking forward to this rest that's coming up.
Oh, yes.
Milked that for a while, climbed quickly to this point, so he's got lots of time in order to take advantage.
He's climbed a little bit more aggressively this this competition, I feel like.
So Alexander now approaches the women's crux. Coming up on the left there, above the sign on the wall. Domin still in the rest. He was starting to look pumped as he came into it. And we see the two tops for the women, Natsuki Tani and Laura Rogera, followed by Jessie Piltz, Mia Krampel, Manon Healy. Make up our top five. Down at the bottom, Molly Thompson-Smith will be nervously looking on. I don't think that's going to be enough for finals for her, unless something happens. Domin, slow and precise from him. Keep an eye on Alexander, because this is the move that we've seen everyone fall, or a lot of people fall.
It's unfortunately one I think she might struggle with. It's such a big move. But she has... I've seen her in training. It's insane how many routes she can climb in a row, graded, you know, AP plus and above. Cruises it and never gets tired.
Oh, she's having to fight, and it's a big pop. She was underneath the tick mark. So Alexandra Totskova, I'm not sure that's enough. Domin is on the business end of the men's comp. Good rest though, squatting down on that right leg.
Yeah, he's so good at resting. Like the way it was kind of hard to see, but when he grabbed the next hold, he kind of disengages his shoulder a little bit, like goes inwards with his body to really, really put pressure on his feet. Such a talent.
Yeah, he really is. Wow, with that backdrop. Ooh. Oh, but he loses the crimp. Keep an eye on the scoreboard, 14th. So nowhere near that top 8 for Domin Skofitz. Okay, final 4 are coming up here as we near the end of our semi-final. Domin looking a bit disappointed, breathing heavy from that endurance physical route. all the big muscles in his body working. We get another look at our audience there. Everyone's just having a picnic. Lovely to see. Sure, there'll be alpinists up there sweating in the sun. I think I prefer to be down here underneath an umbrella right now.
I think the men's route is quite... I think they have probably having a hard time reading how difficult the top section is actually going to be, like which parts of it they're going to have to kick in that extra gear on. And if you do it too early or too late, then it kind of punishes you a little bit too much. Because I think they presumably all know that you have to get really far, but then also knowing when to push extra, having gotten that far is, yeah, it's got to be so stressful for them.
Yeah, timing is key, isn't it? Well, Brooke Rabatu looks up. She's having a brilliant lead season so far. Medals to her name. She's taking a sec to reread it. And then on the right of her is Hamish MacArthur from the Team GB. There he is. Again, Hamish, taller climber, similar stature to Paul Gemft. And Hamish really coming into the senior circuit this year. He won the double for the Youth World Championships, boulder and lead. And then came so close to winning the Senior World Champ lead as well. One move off. Hasn't quite found his final form. Yet. Yet.
Exactly.
He's coming, that man. So, Brooke, smooth through the bottom, and the way she's climbing on lead routes at the moment is lovely to watch because she's just so fluid with it, flows through, commits to the moves 100%, and we saw her on the jump in Villars, flinging herself to the right.
Such a massive swing for her. So cool to see.
Look at that from Hamish there, he just cut loose with both feet. And that's the first tricky sequence for the men, and he's through that easy. Getting big support there from the crowd as he comes up, resting down low. Brooke again kicks the feet out, cutting loose. Emil, I know you've climbed a bit with Hamish recently. What's he like as someone to be a partner with for training?
Well, I think all the Brits are so much fun. Yeah, I've talked to them quite a bit lately, and they're all like fantastic people, such characters, and just like, yeah, just fun. Like very motivating, very psyched, and they have a really good camaraderie, I feel like. I mean, I don't know them all that well, so I can't, swear it's like that. But it's definitely the feeling I get when I'm climbing with them or eating ice cream with them. Anything goes. No, they have a fantastic attitude. I feel like very, very motivated, taking it seriously, and just like wanting it so bad. And yeah, so much fun.
So Hamish is into the rest. He'll take a moment here, and Brooke Rabatu is looking good. She loves the heel hooks. In fact, she's one of the ones that route setters find it difficult because of how good she is with the heels. She can just find outrageous heels.
Definitely has an ability to get so much tension through her feet. It's ridiculous to watch. Like the way she pierces holds with her shoes, and really, well, like we talked about earlier, I believe it was in the last year that she kind of broke a lot of the bouldering comps by just nudging her foot into bolt holes and getting so much tension out of it in a way that seems, impossible.
Yeah, it's a climbing brand's dream, I think, that shot.
Yeah, exactly.
So Hamish is underneath the lip now. He's nowhere near finals yet, though. Needs to get through this sequence to the crimps and beyond to get in. Slightly struggled with the clip there. It's in now. Crosses through. That is a tricky move. A lot of tension required. And then, yeah, bumps the rope because the gate was stuck on the rope. And Brooke looked through. I mean, I looked away and she got through the cross.
Same here.
But she made it. So Brooke Rabatu. We've seen a few people fall on this next series of moves. Let's keep an eye on her as she pinches and then into slightly off horizontal crux coming up next. You can see she's just reassessing it with that heel, that drop knee in. Again with the heels. That does not look like a good heel, but look how she makes it work.
Compresses it with a box to just get maximum tension from it.
into the undercling, and she will stand up tall and rest. So she's on for a possible top here. Hamish MacArthur as well gets through the crimps.
Yeah, he needs to go for the hold.
Oh.
I think he is guaranteed into finals, though. Because of that, we'll see in a second. But I do think, because of countback, he's going to be placed so much higher than the rest, that he's in 5th, I think, right now. But we'll see in a moment.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the scoreboard on the right. But Brooke is underneath, straight arm, leaning back on the undercling. She has this tricky mantle press sequence to come.
She is guaranteed into finals, though, I will say. But, you know, a top's definitely not going to hurt.
Yeah, she'd like to climb later. A lot of the athletes like it. That's what she's currently holding on to. What a shot that is. The left pinky dropping under.
But she has this insane 3-finger drag strength. It's just so hard to understand how she can be so strong in 3 fingers. Like, she always keeps them open, and she just it never seems to affect her. Well, you see a lot of climbers full crimping or getting like a more aggressive hold every time, but she, I don't know, she has this incredible strength. So
Brooke will press her way through this move. She uses the more traditional right foot method. She's good at the high foot moves. If she can get stood up, you'd bet on her to top here.
Yeah, but same as with Laura, she really has to clip.
Yeah, I almost forgot it, didn't she? Now gets it in. You're allowed to hold the quick draw like that, because unlike Alex, she's not waiting it.
Yeah, the point is you can't use the quick draw. Yeah. I do think she's going to finish this off. She still looks fairly comfortable on the wall.
It's one of those moves, this, where you want to almost place your foot there with the hand.
I wish we could see a right hand right now, because it is on literally a no-textured 1-finger Gaston upside-down hold. One pad, I should also mention, it was at. But now she's back with the thumb, but I think she was pushing with her.
Yeah, it's just it's a pebble. That's what it's called, that hold.
It's a no-textured pebble.
Oh, Gritstone-esque. Anyway, she stands up. Oh, she had to fight for that, but it's now stood up on the head wall. That thumb, that's what we were talking about. In opposition as she goes to the left, gets the feet through, and now she'll have a moment to shake out after that sequence before the pop to the top.
So, there we have the knee bar, huh?
Oh, no hands rest at the top of a lead wall. Awesome.
Fantastic.
So Brooke jumps
wow,
and gets it done.
Good margin on that jump. Good margin.
Brilliant from Brooke. So Brooke Rabbittu should be through. Great from her. And she comes down. So she will be in finals, and our final is starting to shape up now. Last couple of athletes, 3 remaining.
Yeah, so with 3 remaining, we have the 5 top positions completely settled. Is there some sort of...
Oh no, we're gonna see another incident. She comes to the judge and she's looking disappointed. So, yet again, we could have...
I wonder if it was the quick draw that she pulled into the rope.
Can't be. I mean, you're allowed to do that, so it's...
Yeah,
I mean...
The thing is, you could potentially argue that she could be pulling herself into the wall. It would be ridiculous, but it's the only thing I could think of that she did that looked...
No, you're right,
like something you could discuss.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, she's walking across the stage. She's waving to the crowd. I think she's okay.
Well, if it was that, she knows she made finals, maybe?
Yeah. We'll see. I'm not sure how. She doesn't seem particularly disappointed if she's walking off in front of us now. That was her top. Immediately fist up in the air for her. Right, 3 athletes remaining. Janja Garnbret-Chainceau and Natalia Grossman for the women, Sean Bailey, Sasha Lehmann and Yannick Floe for the men. And there is Sean Bailey on stage. He'll be climbing next to Janja, qualified 3rd for this semi-final.
I believe Sean won here last year, didn't he?
Yes. That was amazing. All the men were falling low and he got through. So Janja is underway. Let's see if she does those flares, dynamic flares, as someone describes it. She presses through. And Sean Bailey, he gets going as well. Ah, now look at that leaderboard. Yeah, Rakovitz, no, she hasn't been awarded the top. 37, so yeah, you're right. I think that was round about that quick
That was
draw.
definitely the quick draw. But it's going to get appealed, and probably, like, I would not be surprised if it was...
I think maybe from a judging angle, that looked worse than it was.
I think the problem is that from a judging angle, you can't tell, so you have to look at the video, which means that the appeal is necessary.
That's true,
So
yeah.
it is a fair assessment from the ground, since they are just sitting in front, literally looking at the wall, and have to assess things based off of that. But I personally would be surprised if it wasn't appealed and accepted, because from where we were viewing it, it didn't look like she was using it to any degree whatsoever.
No, exactly. I mean, she'd be in the final regardless.
She will be, fair enough, but it could, yeah.
Well, if we look at count back again, if everyone tops, it's important, so it will undoubtedly be appealed. So Sean Bailey with the high heel. Oh, there's a lot to talk about during this final, isn't there? Semi-final.
For sure.
Interesting judging decisions and debates going on. Janja is doing what a lot of the top athletes have done, which is use this rest, not for very long, but for a couple of seconds. And Sean continues onwards. He's had an up and down season as well. Bumps the right hand. Janja is looking good as she approaches the women's crux. Straight to the tick mark with the thumb, you can see. So Sean will find a rest in a couple of moves. Janja, meanwhile, has to deal with the crux now.
And this is quite nerve-wracking, because we've seen a lot of people pop off at this crux that you might not expect, and also in ways that you might not expect.
Yeah, true. She's got to avoid the rope. She's got to keep her feet. Does avoid the rope, kicks through. She'll make the clip. And there's another move coming up, which has sent a few down as well. So she's in the top 8 now, but there's a couple to go, so she's not guaranteed. That big drop knee we've seen before. Sean Bailey wearing trousers. A lot of athletes with shorts on, breasts. Someone pointed this out to me the other day during a semi-finals or finals, and now I can't stop seeing which athletes are wearing trousers.
Really? Yeah.
And trying to work out why.
I think it's fairly common with the Japanese team.
Yes, exactly. So someone told me it was about possible knee bars, it's better for trousers, but then someone else was saying that it's good on skin, so who knows, but...
And now we have Janja in the finals, guaranteed.
Yeah, there she goes. So Janja will climb again. She leans back on this rest. Not looking like she's working too hard yet.
Same for Sean Bailey. He does not look uncomfortable yet.
No.
But this is where we've seen a lot of athletes get spitten off, so who knows?
Yep. Locks in the slope, but easily bumps the left hand, makes room for it. It's awkward with the rope there.
Yeah, quite awkward position, it seems.
And now Janja, remember Brooks' clip here. This is where she's currently being penalised, and Janja isn't going to do the same thing. She reaches straight into the quick draw, but it's awkward. She's having to fiddle for it. She can't quite see it. I think it's in now. It is. And she presses out into the pinch with the right hand. She's got to bring her left foot up. In a similar kind of move, we saw her struggle on actually in Innsbruck, bringing the left foot up at the top of the semi-final route.
Right.
I got a bit nervous watching that one. Janja's resting in that position. She needs to work this left. Oh, she had no such problems. Sean Bailey tops out on the right.
He was cruising the top right there.
No drama
like,
from Sean.
Yeah, that was way too chill for him.
So Sean is through, and Janja is about to get stood up and pop for the top. Can she make this final move? This is where Brooke, who's actually standing next to us looking at the screen, she got a no-hands rest. Janja doesn't need it. Swings back in the finals for her. So Janja gets the job done. That 38 will be upgraded to a top in a sec. Great work from her. So Janja's through to the final. Sean's through to the final. And we've got 2 athletes remaining. So 4 in total. Janja undoes her knot. We'll take a moment with Sean to wave to the crowd. That's cool to see. Janja is in a good mood at the moment. She started off the season a little bit tentative, a bit nervous. She knew everyone was looking at her. She does feel the nerves, and it seems like she's now settled into everything and is just relaxed and enjoying it. Yeah. So Janja is done, Sean is done, and we have our next athletes already out onto the stage. Seon So from South Korea, she's on the left, and Sasha Lehmann, part of Team Switzerland, is on the right. Sasha hasn't had the best of years yet. He's been a bit outside. But I think he'll enjoy the physical nature of the bottom of this route.
Yeah, I think this route should suit him quite well. Would not be surprised to see him in finals.
It'd be good to see. Certainly, it'll be popular. He's got medals, 2 golds and a bronze. And Seon So, again, just really calm this year, climbing well. Easy to forget, she's just 18.
I thought she was older, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like we've seen her so many times by now in so many finals.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she broke in at, I think it was 16, where she really sort of beat Janja and made a big play for it.
Oh, okay.
So Sasha is on the slopers. Makes that first initial tricky move okay. Seon So drops the left knee down towards the ground, bumps up to the pinch, high left heel. And Sasha on the slopers now gets the thumb involved. It's funny, a lot of the athletes come off the wall breathing heavily. Janja's just walked past us looking like she just walked into the stadium. Yeah, she's totally chilled. So Seon So gets a high heel. And she now rests in this position we've seen the top ones rest in. Sasha climbing quite slow at the moment.
It'll be interesting to see how hard they set the finals also. Last year in Chamonix, I believe it was that they got about halfway up.
Yeah, it was a bit hard for the men.
Incredibly hard for the men, yeah.
But it seems, I mean, it's hard because they left these semi-final routes mainly the same. I asked them if they'd tweaked it after the high-scoring qualies. Okay. They did a bit, but not anything fundamental. But it's...
I mean, it's not actually... It's not looking to be the same as yesterday in terms of how, you know, easy it is. It's looking a lot more challenging, and like the athletes are more just performing well.
Yeah, I think so. I think they've done a good job, actually. The separation is good. Outside of that top sort of 8 for the men, Hannes Pullman is still in the top 8. He's right on the edge.
He's still in the top 8. We have Yannick and Sasha. See, it's very exciting. It was very exciting yesterday as well for the Swedish team because he was just getting pushed down more. I mean, he was the first one to top the first route, so we were all kind of thinking, oh, cool, he's in semis, no question about it. And then he got pushed down further and further, and he made a slip on the second route, and it got more and more exciting. Kind of the same today.
Yeah, tense times for Team Sweden. Seon So is through the crux, resting in a split position with that right knee turned down towards the ground as she bumps up with the right hand. Now needs to be careful through this sequence. There's that left heel in, which Brooke made look so good. Then changes her feet, dances it over to the left, and Sasha, he's done with the resting part. He needs to be careful with this move though. Right foot, solid for Sasha. He's climbing really well right now. Ooh, I read that differently.
I think he feels quite fresh, and that the heel would just be a little bit too much of a risk, because it could actually pop off and put him down quite a few spots. Because he made the move look very comfortable from the lower foot.
Oh, it was a long stretch for him.
Yeah.
But he's now in, so
One more move and then he's done.
Yeah, Shenzo pressing. Oh, Sasha comes down. So he's 9th. So hang on, Hannes is still safe.
Actually not, because he will most likely get the plus for that one. He was moving his hips well, so.
Oh, well, wait for that to be updated.
Yeah, we'll see. The official results come later.
Shenzo, though, is into finals. She's currently 5th. Shenzo, but it was a match. Bobbled on the match and came down because she was on for a top there, and her eyes immediately flicked to the scoreboard to make sure she's done enough, which she has, but she would have wanted to get the top and finish things off there from that position. We'll see that in a sec, but yeah, she was trying to match on that pebble.
Yeah, fiddle a little bit.
And it's only the pebble bit of the pebble that's got any texture on it. The rest is no text. First athlete we've seen fall on that move. Okay, so we are one athlete to go here. Natalia Grossman will come out soon for the women. Yannick Floe for the men. The last athlete out who's joining us. Well, you've missed the semi-final. Where have you been? Go back and watch the rest of it. I've had Emil Abrahamsen here in the commentary box with me, giving his analysis of all the action.
And we've had a good time.
It has been good.
It's been good.
I've enjoyed it.
It's been a very fun round.
I like the semi-finals, just to chat about climbing.
Yeah, exactly. You can really deep dive into things.
Yeah. More mountains in the background. Look at the glacier. There's a very famous ski line down there on the left through the glacier. Pretty extreme ski line.
Have you been on that one?
I have not been on that one.
Been on that one.
My skiing level is not quite there yet. Maybe one day. That's the midi plan. You get the midi lift up to that plateau. It continues up after that. So we're almost ready for our final few. Shenzo has just left the stage. Took her a while to undo the knot, actually. In the background, you can hear the announcer announcing Yannick Floe and Natalia Grossman. The crowd respond. Pretty full now in the stadium. So here we go. That is Natalia Grossman in the shadow of the wall, looking upwards. Trying to work it out. It's been a long time since she would have seen this route. And then Yannick Floe is underway on the right. Natalia Grossman won the boulder season, 5 out of 6 comps. Only Janja in the first one beat her this year. Hasn't had the same success in the lead yet, but so strong. I mean, I say this a lot, but we're used to seeing her in finals now, but this time last year, not so much the case. She broke through in Salt Lake, and since then has been a regular on the podium and in the finals. And Yannick Floe, he won his first gold in Brixen.
Such an impressive performance. He won all 3 rounds. It was fantastic to see.
And he makes shouldery physical moves that like a walk in the park.
Yeah. Strength is not his weakness.
Absolutely. It took me a while to work that one out. I mean, I had to figure that one out in my head there. 3 tops for the women. Will Natalia Grossman be the 4th? Shenzo probably should have topped out, but had a slip at the top. And Yannick Floe, I reckon, is getting his endurance. He told me he had terrible endurance to start the lead season, but I think he's finding it now.
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky concept when you have so much strength like he does and having to adapt that to the routes. I mean, he can kind of like pull each hole off the wall, and he has to reduce that to an amount where he doesn't pull the holes off the wall. You know, like it can be kind of tricky to like balance that, having like using the right amount of force.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to sort of unleash it all in a thuggy sequence and then have nothing left.
Exactly.
Natalia bumping the right hand up. She's about to enter the crux, and Yannick is in the rest. Looking good so far as he rests. Right, he now continues. Not much of a chance to pause from here onwards. He needs to keep pressing. And Natalia is on this tricky part of the route. As Emil said earlier, anything can happen here. Watch the rope, watch her feet.
I do think it will suit her well. I think she's going to make it look like a walk in the park, but we'll see in a second.
So she thinks about using that hold, gets the tick mark, having to fight a little bit, but she's clean through it. And Yannick nails the sloper, and he's into the crimps. Drills the left toe down, and he'll make the clip. And Natalia has one tricky move here before she gets to the press underneath the volume. Natalia focusing hard on this. And Yannick comes down. He's intent.
Yeah, we couldn't quite see what happened. He stuck the next one, so he is in
the scoreboard
position.
Couldn't keep up there.
Yeah, we'll see in a second.
Natalia is one position out, but I think she'll now be awarded that plus.
If she just goes for the next hold, she's in the. Oh no, actually, sorry.
Yeah, she's through as well.
She's through.
So this is a bit of a victory lap for Natalia.
What an angle.
Spotted that camera, didn't she? Nailed it. So Natalia resting underneath on that undercling now. Last press sequence to come for her. It was a snapshot moment that on our PTZ camera. You can see on the wall on the left, that's what she was looking into with the microphone, catching all of the action on the wall. And Natalia is making sure of this, being precise on the final sequence, bumps the right hand across. Which method will we see? We've only seen one athlete come up with the left foot. Everyone else has gone with the right foot. Oh, stretches over.
Last climber out, and she's definitely not bad at mantle, so I think she's even just pushing off of her fingers on the left arm. You haven't really seen that so far, I don't think.
But look at her fingers trying to work out how to hold that pebble. Oh, nearly went there.
Exciting. Very comfortable once she got the position, though.
And this is where Cheon-So fell. She was trying to match that right hand, try to get in a better position, and couldn't. Exactly this move is where we lost Cheon-So. So Natalia having to be careful. Can't quite work out how to get the body weight over to the left at the moment. Now gets it. Will move the foot through, and then she'll be able to rest here before popping for the top. Left foot on the screw-on. Smallest hold on the wall, one of. And she's smiling out there. I think she knows she's got this one. Oh, she statically does it. And then cuts loose, crosses through. Oh, a bit awkward there, but now gets herself better set up. She'll clip, she will finish the route, and she is through into the finals as well. Joins Janja Garnbret, Natsuki Tani, and Laura Rogera to top the route. Emil, we are done. What a semi-final.
What a semi-final. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. Well, our top 8 are in. We'll wait for a couple of appeals, because we know Alex might appeal that quick draw, though it looked like he waited it. And of course, Brooke Rabatu, she got dropped down from the top spot for a similar thing as Alex, but both me and Emil in the commentary box think perhaps she should get away with it, because I don't think she waited it or used it, but we'll see. Oh. Yannick just popped off to the left.
So presumably he got 36 plus. It doesn't really affect the result, though. I don't think at all, to be honest. Because he's still in finals. That was the move required to get into finals, but we'll see in a second. Bringing this.
Great from Natalia, that shot. So Natalia Grossman comes up to the top, static on that move. Great from her. Right, well, let's have a look at our scoreboard, shall we? That is our top 8 for the men. Adam Ondra, due to time, tops out first. He's in first position. Sean Bailey, Luka Poticha, Tony Yoshida, Sam Abazu, Taisai Homer, Hamish MacArthur, Sasha Lehman, Yannick Floey in the top 6. And then Hannes Pullman, I think, will be outside in 10th.
He will, unfortunately, and that's because he didn't top both of the routes the day before. So due to countback, he is not in the finals.
Unlucky from him, and that is the rest of the men's field Colin Duffy, a surprise, fell low. He doesn't make it through. This is Masahiro Higuchi.
It's funny when you say low and it's at the middle of the head wall.
I know, yes, that's very true. Yeah, look at that scoring, all 34s, 33s, and then down the bottom, Alex Megos deemed to have waited a quick draw whilst clipping. As he was clipping, he kind of slipped. We'll wait to see if an appeal comes through from that, but certainly from the replay, it looked pretty decisive. And for the women, Janja Garnbret on top again due to time. Natalia Grossman, Natsuki Tani, Laura Rogera, Brooke Rabatu, Sheon So, Jessie Piltz, and Mia Krampel make up our top 8. So we will return this evening, 8 p.m. Central European time for the finals. And if you've never seen a Chamonix final, boy, are you in for a treat here this evening. Molly Thompson-Smith down in 12th. Futaba Ito, not the best comp from her in 24th. Vita Lukan as well, slightly disappointed. Well, she will be disappointed about that. Luka Rakovitz as well, yet to break into a final this year. As we continue down the order, Quinn Mason falling a little low, but good to see her in semi-finals. Jay Lulu as well won't make it. So we will return later on this evening. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Emil Abrahamson for joining me in the commentary box. We will be back later this evening for more action, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.